This is Monty in the Morning, the show Phoenix Magazine readers voted #1 talk radio show in Arizona.
#1 during your morning commute.
#1 whenever news breaks during your day.
And #1 whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, man, how the heck are you? It is Tuesday. Dude, I seriously don't know what date it is. Tuesday, September 27th. 2022, and can you believe that it was 3 weeks ago that we were in Maui already?
Bro, what?
Man, I miss the heat. But I also miss NBA basketball. Yesterday was media day. Here's a question for you. Are the Utah Jazz a playoff team? We'll talk about that right here on the Monty Show, presented by the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. Who's the best player left on the Jazz? And why was yesterday another debacle for what is supposed to be the professional basketball team in Salt Lake City? My aren't we the Utah Jazz? It's going to be one of those shows.
No comment.
Kevin Durant knows who he is, and Brant Keithy is lost for the year. Were you surprised yesterday, Jake, that Utah fans, I felt like Utah fans were assuming that the season was over yesterday.
Yeah, well, it is until you find a solution for replacing Brant Keithy.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I completely disagree with that mindset. I just think it's it's so short-sighted. And you'll hear from Kyle Whittingham on the show today talking about Brant Keithy and what he means to the club, and will he come back to the team next year? All those things coming up. But we want to start with Utah Jazz Media Day here on the Monty Show. I wonder what everybody thinks. Just a real peripheral, surface baseline question, Jake. Mm-hmm. Will the Utah Jazz make the NBA playoffs in 2023?
I think right now you're probably just a touch short. I think, you could contend to be a play-in team, but I think when you look at this roster, you have to see how these guys gel. It's hard for me to say whether you could get into the mid-30s or low 40s with this team because none of these guys have played together really, and I think that you have to see how Will Hardy does, and there's a lot at play. It's the first season of this group playing together, so I think, the question of will these guys get to the playoffs or where are the Utah Jazz going? I think it's really tough to answer right now, but what I don't think is tough to answer is that we know what the goal is, which is to play up-tempo basketball. I mean, that's what, we've been telling you from, since they started making deals. That's what is very clear with the way this roster is built. So to me, it makes perfect sense that you're going to be this team that's, probably not going to win a ton of games, but you're going to play exciting basketball. And so for Jazz fans, I feel like, how do you feel about that? Is that acceptable? Is that, annoying? Is that, where do you come down on that? Because for me, this was always going to be the case. When you signed that Rudy Gobert contract, what was that, 2 years ago, I guess that would have been now or whatever. Once you signed that deal, it was always going to be the case that you were inevitably going to have to get that deal off your books, and at that point, you were going to have a decision whether you wanted to burn it down or not.
But
so now we're here.
What would an acceptable win total be? Because I think one of the questions you have to ask is, what is this Utah Jazz team trying to do? What is the effort? What is the energy? Where are you spending your money? And what are you hoping to get for that? Because I think that is something that, honestly, if we're truth-telling about this team, I don't know the answer to that question. We've seen a lot of curious moves. You understood what was going on with Rudy. You just couldn't afford to keep that contract on your books. Don, you got to haul in return. What do you do with Bojan Bogdanovic in that trade? That trade makes very little sense to me. Mm-hmm. You look at what's left on this roster. Why is Mike Conley still here? It is very curious to me that the Jazz, after the Donovan trade, it almost seemed like they were done. They took a deep breath and they were like, okay, our work is done here. Oh, you want Bojan? Here, throw in a bag of balls and we'll make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this felt like to me. Hey, we won the other two, so we can take a loss here.
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like they hit the pause button.
Yeah, and I completely disagree with that because I think that every move you make sends a message to your fan base. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I also think that this Bojan trade, it makes you 2 for 7 or 8 this offseason Because if you throw Boyan into a really, and I don't even think I'm being dramatic, a disastrous uniform unveiling, just a lack of fan passion or caring at this point.
I'm going to say this again.
Because I don't get the general idea that Jazz fans are exactly excited for the season to start.
Yeah.
I don't. And if you look at what teams like the Nets, the Knicks, the Lakers, the Celtics, like all the turmoil that those teams have, yet their fan bases are plugged in and engaged. I don't get the idea that Utah Jazz fans are particularly happy, Jake, with where this team is right now.
Facts.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's hard to be excited because it's the unknown, and it kind of feels like you're just going through the ringer again. It feels like, oh, we climbed the ladder with Don and Rudy, and now we're going back down the ladder again. It kind of feels like we're in that part of the cycle, if you will, and I think the difference is like with Media Day. Media Day is a great example in this conversation. Like, the Utah Jazz are not interested in having some huge media day. They're not interested in lighting up their practice facility. And the reason for that is, there's several reasons, but I think the main reason for that is because they don't want to talk about things. They don't want to just kind of air out their dirty laundry and say, yeah, this is who we are in a real honest fashion. Like in a few minutes here, we're going to get to what all the other teams did. And you're going to see there's a real sense of like bluntness to what these guys are talking about. It's not like just a press conference. They're like in their practice facility talking about issues and goals and, just everything at play. And I really felt like yesterday, the Jazz just kind of did the bare minimum. And I'm not trying to sit here and criticize them and hate on them, but it really felt like, hey, we're just going to live stream some interviews and that's kind of it. And not only did you just live stream some interviews for 7 hours on YouTube, which is fine, the quality of that audio was so bad that we're not going to play any of it today. There was so much white noise on the audio, like, buzzing, if you will, that you can't really listen to it comfortably.
That's
frustrating.
Shocking. Yesterday and I kid you not, if you watched any of the live stream of the media session, you could not really enjoy it because there was so much noise. And this goes back to this mentality that I talk about all the time. Listen, if you want to be a small market team, act like a small market team. If you want to be a major market team and you want to be the Lakers or the Celtics or the Chicago Bulls or the New York Knicks, act like it.
Y'all feel me?
It is unacceptable that you had a massive media event. One of the most important events of the summer of the offseason was yesterday at Media Day, and it was unbearable to listen to. You couldn't really get any information out of their interview sessions because the line was so poorly constructed.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I thought was disappointing was the elephant in the room was not talked about.
Yeah.
There was no questions that were really pointed. Yet if I go to LA, if I go to Brooklyn and I get Kevin Durant, who you're going to hear from in a bit, I get Kevin Durant talking about the fact that he didn't believe in the direction of the organization and that he didn't want to play for Steve Nash anymore because he saw things that he didn't understand. I get, Jaylen Brown talking about how he was stunned and it hurt him that Ime Udoka did what he did and was suspended for a year.
Yeah.
I get all of these teams. I get LeBron James saying anything less than a championship is a disappointment year in and year out in Los Angeles. You know what I got from the Jazz? I quite literally got white noise on a live stream. So I really don't know what Will Hardy had to say. It was that bad. And the other thing that is very clear is the Jazz don't want to talk about their baggage. And I think that's a huge mistake. I think it's not the mistakes you make, it's how you handle them that define who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And when you look at the Jazz, they've clearly had missteps this summer. They haven't talked about them openly and honestly, so it leaves questions lingering. There's nobody asking hard, true questions because the Jazz own the media in this town. And I think that matters, Jake, because it continues the narrative that this organization is operating like a minor league basketball team.
Yeah, and I think that there's the bigger thing to me, and this is sort of a big picture thing. The bigger issue to me is that there's no pressure for them to act like a major market team. That's the thing to me. Like, imagine the climate that you would have in the sports landscape here if the media leaned on the Jazz and were like, hey, like asking like real hard-nosed questions, like, hey, notice that everybody's wearing purple today. Where's the yellow jersey? Where's the black jersey?
Well, I think
like,
that's a very interesting point by you. It wasn't lost on 9 out of 10 people that there were no yellow jerseys yesterday.
Yeah, like and that's kind of what I mean. It's to me, like what I would say to the Utah Jazz and their front office team or whatever, their media people, however you want to characterize it, the people that handle things like media day and things like media relations, just talk about it. Just say, hey, yeah, you know what? We thought the highlighter yellow would be great, but it turns out it just didn't work out great for us. So we're going to play this season with them, and then we'll probably have a fresh rebrand or a fresh colorway or whatever you want to say. Like I get it. It's never fun to talk about, have an egg on your face, essentially. That's not fun to do, but at some point we all do it. And so my frustration really isn't even with the jersey thing. It's more about like there's a lot to talk about. Like, I don't think it's a stretch to say this was the most important event in the franchise's history. Like, I don't think that's a stretch to say with where you are. Think about it. You just traded potentially the best duo you've had. Potentially, like if you put Rudy and Don up against, Stockton and Malone, there are people that would tell you Rudy and Don would win that matchup.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
For
sure.
So
to me, you just traded away, arguably the best duo you've had in the franchise's history, and I think the best player you've ever had in the franchise's history, all winning aside, and you're doing your media day, and we get white noise on a line. We don't get the practice facility filled up. I can't hear what your coaches are saying. Like, it's not...
It's frustrating.
And so for me,
it is frustrating.
When I look around the league, because again, remember, I'm not a Jazz fan. We just cover this team. So I have the ability to say, okay, here's where the Jazz are. Here's where the rest of the league is. Like, we're going to laugh our ass off today at something Kawhi did during his media day, and it's funny as hell. But we don't get those moments with the Jazz, and I think that's a mistake.
Yeah,
that's what I think the issue is.
I think when you watch the way the rest of the league was put together. Let me play this LeBron bite. And we're going to talk Lakers in a while, but I want you to understand how the rest of the teams in this league handled media day. And then compare that to what you got from the Jazz. Here's LeBron James talking about winning as a Laker.
Injuries, unfortunate circumstances. Right. Are you motivated to get back to that spot?
Absolutely. There's definitely a chip on my shoulder, a chip on our shoulder. And, just wearing this uniform is unacceptable. It's just unacceptable not to be able to compete for a championship. And I know that's long-term, and that's something that we're not going to talk much about. But listen, I can look right up there, and it speaks for itself.
There they are.
Right? See, that's LeBron James on what did you see in that picture? And here's why this matters. That's LeBron James talking about the expectation is winning, being asked those questions on the Los Angeles Lakers television channel.
Yeah, another great point.
Wearing their new gold uniform. So they handled media day well on their own TV channel wearing their uniform. Talking about, and in that interview, it was a wide-ranging interview where he talked about they've lost far too much.
Yeah.
We have not accomplished or achieved. And it's remarkable that then you flip over and you watch the Jazz, who are live streaming on YouTube, which is a viable platform, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you completely botch that. So all of this to say, I actually think there's a lot of exciting things around the Utah Jazz. I actually think the players in this group on this roster is truly exciting, and I'm actually looking forward to preseason NBA. I'm looking forward to the season tipping off because I want to see what Jared Vanderbilt turns into.
Yeah.
I want to see, hey, is Jared Butler a bust? Is he done? I want to see, hey, how long is Malik Beasley on this team? How long is Mike Conley on this team? How long does it take Danny to turn this thing around and get back to winning?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of exciting storylines that the Utah Jazz are hiding from. And that's the thing that I don't understand. Why are you hiding from that when we've got Boston Celtic players yesterday talking openly, honestly, and directly about Ime Udoka?
Yeah.
When we've got Kevin Durant talking about why he demanded a trade, and Kyrie Irving saying, hey, dude, guess what? When I put I picked up my player option, it was really awkward that right away Kevin Durant, asked for a trade. Like, they're having all these great, open, honest discussions, and we don't know what.
About things that are, frankly, a lot more difficult to talk about than where you are as an organization. Like, the Ime Udoka stuff is hard to talk about.
And we're hiding yellow uniforms.
So that's why I say,
what are we doing?
It's not like, and I always say this, and I say it because I want to emphasize it, like, we're not, the plan when we were talking about this in the vaunted pre-show meeting behind the scenes was not to, hey, we're just going to roll out and criticize the organization, but I do think it warranted talking about it because it was just such a stark contrast. And I even think with some of these other clips, like the feel of it, like Media Day is supposed to be at your practice facility with a full slate of like booths and fun things to do.
They streamed for like 6, 7, 8 hours.
And I'm cool with that. I'm fine with it.
Jake, it was 7 hours, 8 hours.
I know, but the problem is
it's
you're
amazing.
Missing everything, dude.
What?
I get it. You sent your guys out to a soccer pitch, and everyone thought that was the best thing since sliced bread.
A soccer pitch.
Cool. Ryan owns RSL. We get it. There's a built-in relationship. That was easy for you guys, but I'm telling you right now, it's about doing things you don't want to do. You don't want to pay people to set up a full media day. You don't want to pay an audio tech to make sure that the audio line doesn't have a bunch of white noise on it, and I can actually hear Colin Sexton and Will Hardy talking about what they hope this season is going to be. That's the problem.
Less of us, more of you. What did you think of Jazz Media Day? Was this a big deal? Are you excited about the Jazz? What are your thoughts on the Utah Jazz? We're going to get those in 15 seconds after you hear from the Advocates.
You've been in an accident and now you're injured. Though it wasn't your fault, you now have to deal with getting your car fixed, mounting medical bills, and insurance companies who don't play fair. But don't worry. The experienced team at the Advocates are here to get you the support you need.
There you go. Make sure you get to UtahAdvocates.com. The Monty Show, always presented by the Advocates, Utah Injury Attorneys, UtahAdvocates.com. Don't forget, you never come out of your pocket to work with the Advocates. You only pay the Advocates once they win your case. Free consultations, no big retainers. Listen, the Advocates know that you didn't deserve to be in an accident, but you need somebody to fight for you when you've been in an accident. That's why you go to the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. Let's get your thoughts in here on the Utah Jazz. Are you excited about the Jazz? Are you looking forward to the season starting? First one in this morning, Kurt Myers. Kurt, good to see you, my friend. Dave Heath, how are you? Eric in Raleigh says, will the Jazz make the playoffs? LOL, no. No? Is it such a ridiculous question to ask? Look, Kawhi. Wait till you hear this new Kawhi laugh. It is. Kawhi Leonard yesterday was unintentionally amazing.
Hey, Claw.
My point is it a ridiculous question to ask if the Utah Jazz are going to make the NBA playoffs?
Well, I don't think it's a ridiculous question. I don't think it's like unfounded, but I think the problem is, they're not the problem, but like the crux of the situation, the conversation is that all offseason, what have we been hearing? We've got Danny Ainge, we've got Justin Zanuck, even Ryan Smith at one point, talking about how the goal is to win championships. And, like Danny and Justin, as an example, are basically mirror images of themselves in the media, basically just saying that they didn't feel like that Donovan and Rudy were championship quality, which, by the way, I do agree with, and I appreciate that 100%. But I think that the Utah Jazz, I don't know, man, you just have to do it like bigger and better.
You do.
When I was thinking about this conversation last night, I was really struggling with the concept of this is an NBA organization.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like the XFL. This isn't like minor league sports. This isn't
XFL.
Yeah, this isn't like live golf, right? This isn't like some minor league, doesn't matter, who cares type thing, right? That's not what this is. This is the NBA, man. This is Salt Lake City. Like, I feel like sometimes that's lost on the organization. Like, hey, you are the big ticket in town, with all due respect to BYU and Utah. Like, when the Jazz are hot, this is a basketball town, and I don't think anyone disagrees with that. So when I talk about this stuff, I just come from a place of like, I just want more, because I know you can do more. I know you're capable of more, and you have a new owner who allegedly is some tech billionaire. Like, start acting like it. Start doing things. That's what I want. So can they make the playoffs? I don't know. Are they going to start operating like a major market team? Is the rebuild only going to take 2 years like it would in Boston or maybe Los Angeles or other markets who could be aggressive? I don't know. That's why I think this big market question matters so much, because if you operate like a small market team, it's probably going to take you 5 or 6 years. If you get aggressive and you actually come through, then it'll probably take you 2 seasons. So can they make the playoffs this year? Probably not, right? Can they be exciting? Yeah, probably. They're probably going to be fun to watch, but that doesn't mean you're a winning basketball team.
I think that there's a better chance that the Jazz can make the playoffs than people give them credit for. And obviously Eric's being sarcastic, but I think they can make the playoffs. I think they can be a play-in team. I do. And we'll have to see what happens at the trade deadline. And because I'm a little surprised that Mike Conley's here. You know, I've heard a lot that Mike Conley, just didn't have a genuine suitor, that they would like to have traded him. And I think he would have been involved in a Bojan Lakers trade. But the Lakers didn't want to give up that extra draft pick, so he's not. Kenai Johnson, good morning, KJ. Top of the morning, fellas. So it looks like we're keeping Clarkson and Conley as of now. I think Jordan Clarkson genuinely wants to be here.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers wanted him, and I think the Jazz didn't want to deal him. Honestly, Neville93, what's up, buddy? Says, yes, Jazz talk.
Yes, sir.
We like it. Jesse Hirsch says, morning, boys. So you mean our young ragtag group of misfits and scrappy underdogs and a rookie coach with nothing but a ball and a dream? Yeah, 12th seed. Wow.
Damn, bro.
Jesse Hirsch is
tell
in.
me how you really feel, bro.
He is in. Billy Lee, good morning to you. He says, definitely not. I think around 25 wins.
Well, I mean,
Wow.
that may be a reality. I don't know. I think the trade deadline is also going to be a big deal for this team. And I think that, overall, you have this situation where they need to continue to make moves. My biggest fear right now is kind of what you were describing earlier. Like, hey, you made the Don deal, you made the Rudy deal, you made the Royce deal, and you made the Bogdanovich deal. We have our opinions on those. But my point is that, okay, now we're at the starting line. If you really think about this, you had to move that money. You had to change your organization and lower your cap hit so you could bring on flexibility. Justin Zanuck has talked all about that in his one-on-one or whatever that they did, oddly enough, at the practice facility. Like, so being that you have flexibility and you're a young team and you're, probably a 25 to 35 win team right now, my point is, what's next? What is the direction? Because it's not good enough just to sit here now and meddle at 25 wins. That's my big concern. We heard all about how you got a ton of draft picks now. You've got a war chest of capital and assets and things to make deals with. Okay, so you're going to start the season like this, totally understandable. But by the trade deadline, I would expect this team to look a little different. I would expect this team to have made another couple of deals, So that's my biggest fear, is that they're just kind of going to chill right now and just kind of see how the season plays out and not do anything at the deadline or not do anything significant. I'm sure they will make deals, but nothing significant.
I think one of the things that's really clear to me, and I don't know what you guys think about this, but one of the things that's very clear to me is on the floor, this team won't be boring.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that could be a saving grace for this team. But you look at comments like this, definitely not 25 wins. That doesn't give you a lot of hope that the fan base is excited. But if you're a Utah Jazz fan, I would tell you to be excited.
Yeah.
I think that you're going to have a lot of interesting players on this roster and a lot of good things to look at. I would be excited about what this Jazz team is doing.
Yeah.
But these events leading up to it, I think they're not exciting. Teddy Wayman, good morning to you. He says, good morning, guys. No, I don't think the Jazz will make the playoffs. Mark Rasmussen, good to see you. 9th seed. Jeremy Bolton, what's up, bud? Good to see you. Sebastian Almeida says the talent is there. I think they will play to win, and whatever the end result is, they're good with it. If the playoffs are in, then someone was better than advertised. If not, more lottery balls.
Yeah, but to me,
more lottery balls.
But to me as a Jazz fan, I wouldn't be happy with that mentality. I'm not even saying you're wrong about that mentality.
I don't think he's wrong at all.
That may very well be the case, but to me, that was not the bill of goods we were sold. The bill of goods we were sold was, hey, yes, we got to make changes. We got to get our money back in the right place, but we're going to turn this thing around, really inside of 2 or 3 seasons. That was kind of the messaging. So if that is the mentality, I do have a problem with that. I got to be honest, because we weren't having a conversation about, well, if we make the playoffs, cool. If not, then we'll be a lottery team. That basically what you're saying there is the end result doesn't really matter. I mean, right? If that's essentially
there's
what
truth
we're
in that.
what
Absolutely.
you're saying. If you're like, hey, yeah, cool. If we make the playoffs, if not, we're a lottery team. Well, yeah,
But
thanks.
Isn't that the worst part about where the Jazz are? People are writing you off. You're not. I think your chances are better because I think truth be told, I think you still have several deals you're going to make. I can't believe a year from now Malik Beasley's still on this roster. I can't believe when the NBA trade deadline passes that Mike Conley's still on this roster, that these veterans are still here, because it doesn't make a lot of sense to have those guys on your team. I also truly do not believe that the Utah Jazz are tanking. I don't see that.
Yeah.
I think the Jazz are absolutely rebuilding. I don't see that this team is tanking in any way, shape, or form, because, again, I think when you're putting all of your hopes and dreams on a 7-footer that weighs 114 pounds, you're in a world of hurt. And I think Danny Ainge said it best when he said, hey, I'm too old to completely, tank and rebuild this team.
But now, let me tell you
I mean, that's the God's honest truth.
Point. It's a great point.
That is the God's honest truth.
Yeah.
That I just don't see it that way. So it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out. Football at 50:10 of the hour. Every hour on the Monty Show is presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza. Woo! Boy, it feels good to be back talking NBA and Utah Jazz.
Man, you got that heat.
It does feel very good. All right, let's talk Hurricanes. I don't know why people live in Florida.
In my infinite greatness, I've provided you guys a Doppler radar graph here to show you Hurricane Ian.
God almighty, look at that thing. Are you kidding me?
So as you can see, we have Tampa, which is where TV12 is at. Thank you. And then you've got Orlando, which is squarely in the center of this thing.
Yeah, Tampa Bay is moving their operations to Miami to avoid Hurricane Ian. This is crazy. I would just like to ask, beyond the fact Florida man and Ron DeSantis, who
Florida man
are pretty much the same guy, why would you live in Florida? This is insanity, man. The size of this hurricane.
Gnarly.
I mean, they're all the flooding in the streets of Miami. If you think about Havana, Cuba, if you think about the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, you look at now the state of Florida.
You're done.
They're already floating manhole covers off of their hole on the streets of Miami. The storm surge is that bad, and they're saying that by Sunday it will have caused catastrophic damage.
Yeah, dude.
To Tampa Bay. And that's why Tampa is likely moving to Miami and going to play their game in Miami. I don't even know what you do here besides move out of Florida, because that's terrible.
That's gnarly, bro. You're done.
That's terrifying to me. I don't even know what you do with that, but
that's hundreds of miles wide, dude.
Be cool, man. Hey, by the way, real quick question for you. Is Mike McCarthy getting enough credit for what's going on with the Cowboys last night? Now, does he get credit for this? Oh, this is CeeDee Lamb dropping a wide-open touchdown.
Bro,
but
what?
At least he owned it. Are you kidding me? Look at that. No, didn't catch it.
Oh, let me smile and tap my chest. Come on, dude. I get really burned out on everyone hating on Mike. I'm not sitting here saying Mike is somehow the best coach in the NFL or he deserves a ton of credit, but certainly this guy is not solely at fault for the Cowboys' struggles. This is supposed to be a staple wide receiver. Was it that it hit you in the hands?
CeeDee Lamb's a great talent, but he's got to stop dropping his balls.
Wow.
And he should catch footballs when they're thrown to him as well. I don't blame Mike McCarthy for the failings of the Dallas Cowboys. He's certainly part of the problem. At times, his clock management, his play calling, sure. Last night, the issue was that he had wide receivers who couldn't catch the football. Yeah. You're without Dak Prescott. By the way, do they have a quarterback controversy now in Dallas?
No, because you're paying a guy hundreds of millions of dollars. He's going to play. And it's unfortunate for Cooper Rush. He's played well. He looks good, but there's not, I don't care what Jerry says, you're not going to sit Dak Prescott behind Cooper Rush. That's not happening.
There's no way, shape, or form in any way that you would bench.
Nope.
That you would bench Dak Prescott.
I'm not sitting down. What is he getting paid? $40 a year?
$800 million.
You're not sitting that money down, dude. It's not happening.
By the way, Warren Franklin says, I live in Florida, but it's beautiful down here.
Bro, where do you live? Are you in Miami or where are you at?
Yeah, seriously, stay safe. Seriously. BTS Dance Studio says Ron DeSantis is a terrible guy.
Please don't.
No.
Don't.
He's great. I mean, which hurricane was worse, the actual one or the Canes play against Middle Tennessee State? Seriously. I mean, bro, you hired the savior coach. What happened?
Yeah.
Why? No, got a skyscraper watching their practices. Tough to install anything and keep a competitive advantage that way. You're not wrong. They could gel at a good time and push the play-in.
Maybe.
Well, maybe. I don't know about all that. Football at 50, 10 to the hour. Every hour on the Monty Show is presented by our good friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Papa Murphy's Pizza. Maybe you should get a triple pep, bro.
No one goes all in on made-from-scratch freshness like Papa Murphy's. Because when you go all in, people notice. Go all in with the triple pep pizza for just $11.99. Papa Murphy's. Change the way you pizza.
Yep, make sure you use the promo code Monty25, MONTY, Monty25, and get 25% off your order of $25 or more in the Papa Murphy's app. Wait until next week.
Oh, yeah.
We saw the new commercial for Papa Murphy's.
It's fire.
The pizza that they're promoting is going to blow your mind, frankly. It is. Mrs. Monty rarely does jumping jacks.
Right.
She saw the new Papa Murphy's pizza, and she just instantly started doing jumping jacks and leaps of awesomeness and ecstasy, which usually she saves for me because she's married to me, and I am her triple pep on a nightly basis. But this time I threw my pen on the floor, and she got excited about it. And anyway, cool pizza coming out next week. The Monty Show.
Come on, Kawhi.
Can you tell what that is?
Yeah, can you hear it?
I don't think you can. I don't know. And
we're going to debate it.
We're going to debate it.
We're going to debate it because he definitely rolled out a laugh.
The Monty Show is presented by The Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. Simply put, the best injury attorneys in the business, The Advocates. And it's because they know that when you're in an accident, it's one of the most difficult days or times in your life. If you're injured and you're trying to get healthy, you can't be fighting the insurance company who their only job is to make sure they pay you as little money as possible. And really, their only job is to hope they pay you none at all. That's why you go to The Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. Let The Advocates battle the insurance company for you so you can focus on getting healthy. Don't go pay some huge retainer. There's no consultative fee at The Advocates. Your consultation's free. You only pay The Advocates when they win your case. You get healthy. The Advocates will fight the insurance companies. UtahAdvocates.com. I think the biggest story this morning in Sports, Jake, is without question Utah Jazz Media Day was yesterday. It is great to be talking Utah Jazz basketball. And again, I think the question this morning is just your overall sentiment about the Utah Jazz. Are you excited about the Jazz? Are you looking forward to it? Because I got to tell you, I actually am excited about a lot of things around the Jazz. I'm excited to see what they do with guys like Walker Kessler, Jared Vanderbilt. Is Jared Vanderbilt a foundational player on a championship team? Is Walker Kessler that guy? Is Agbaji that guy? Like, who on this roster is here when the Jazz win a championship? Because I think within the next 5 years, if they don't win, they'll be playing for one. Mm-hmm. Who on this roster is going to be here? I think that's a really critical question. And I think you have 3-4 guys. What is Colin Sexton? Is Colin Sexton going to represent the Utah Jazz in the All-Star game, Jake? Because I think there's a chance he will.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got a shot, no doubt about it. I think that Colin Sexton is a perfectly good talent, but again, I need to see improvement from this organization in the developmental category. Like you can't bring in all this talent and be like, oh yeah, we're developing guys, and then not have Colin Sexton be in the All-Star game or not have these guys improve. And I get it. It's David Fizdale's first year here. So we need to see what that looks like. How does the developmental plan change? That's what I want to see. So can he get in the All-Star game? Absolutely. I think the guy's got talent for days. But talent isn't the only thing that gets you over in the league. Decision-making and shot selection and not turning it over. And there's a bunch of stuff that goes into that Colin needs to improve on. But what I do think is a big upgrade is defense. The guy can play defense for days. And I think having hard-working defenders on this team is definitely something that hasn't been present in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I am. And, this is a conversation we should have. I look at this comment from good old, well, Jeremy Bolton first, because he knows what I know, that Alex Caruso's an amazing player, right? At the top paid, most overpaid players in the league. Alex Caruso, Lisa Wilson, and Alex Caruso. By the way, yes, somebody asked me yesterday if I was still trying to get Lisa Wilson on the show. Yes. In fact, we are. Tanner Plummer says, when, don't you mean if the Jazz win a title? No, I don't. I believe that in the next 5 years, the Jazz will come very close to winning a championship. And I think that there's a real good chance that they're going to win. And I think that it is not if, it is when. And I think that's that mentality that I always talk about. I think you have to have a championship mentality, and you have to believe that you're a major market team. I don't know the financial struggles that this team is going through, and I can tell you, talking to Utah Jazz sources inside the organization, there is frustration that money is being spent in the way that it is, not related to basketball talent, but, video production, that they don't have like a fully developed plan on a daily basis for creating things like Media Day. Like there is a real frustration. There was real frustration around the lack of money that was put into the jersey reveal, the lack of planning. That's one of the things I hear about all the time. Like, we don't plan anything. We just kind of fly by the seat of our pants. We take 3 days to plan a jersey reveal. That's the thing that's frustrating to me. I have to think that Ryan Smith is going to get that house in order. It's got to happen, right? The basketball side of things for the Jazz is on solid footing. There's no doubt about that. With Danny and Justin Zanuck, I don't think there's any doubt that they're moving in the right direction. Is Will Hardy the right coach? I don't know. The jury's out on that, but you feel like he has potential to be the right guy. They've got a bunch of young dudes on this roster. This is a year where, frankly, if they won 12 games, nobody would really blink an eye, right?
Right.
So this year is a proving ground and a learning ground for Will Hardy. But that does not mean that it's okay not to have a championship mentality.
Yeah.
You have to roll into this season believing that this is day one, week one, month one, season one of our run to a championship. That's the mentality you have to have. If you do not do everything on a day in, day out basis as though you are the biggest and baddest MFer in the business, you're doing it wrong. And I don't care if you're a postal worker, if you are a FedEx driver, if you're a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer, operate as though you are the best in the business. And guess what? Your mindset all of a sudden changes.
You are what you are.
That's what the Utah Jazz are not doing. They are not operating as though they are the best franchise in the business, so they're not. They are not telling themselves on a consistent basis, we are the best basketball team in the NBA, so they're not. We're the best front office in the NBA, so they are not. Nobody does jersey reveals the way we do. You're right, they don't, and that's not a good thing. Nobody does media day the way we do. You're right, they don't, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
This Jazz team has to stop operating as a small market minor league franchise and start operating as though they are the Lakers, the Knicks, the Bulls, like the best of the best. You have to operate like that to become that. And that's what I'm frustrated with. And I see some people being like, why are you guys so negative? It's not being negative. The thing that you know about this show is you're always going to get the truth. Negative, positive, whatever it is. The blunt, unadulterated truth in Utah sports is what you get on this show every day.
Yeah.
The Jazz botched another one yesterday with Media Day. It was first the jersey rollout. It was the media, the way that they've handled the media through a summer of tumult where your fans were pissed off and insecure because you traded their two favorite players, and you really said nothing about it.
Yeah. And
now you have Media Day, and you really don't widely make it available to people, right? Like, you don't make it so that all of your media can be there. You don't make it so that the questions that need to be asked are asked. Kind of skate around that. We're not really going to talk about that.
Yeah, and I think it's not all on the Jazz either. Like I think I 100% agree with what you're saying, but I also think the media and the relationship to the Jazz is one we've talked about a lot on this show, and I don't feel like the culture in the media here is one that puts the Jazz in a position where they have to do it big, where they have to do it at a frankly an NBA level. I mean, I hesitate to say that. That feels like kind of an asshole thing to say, but I kind of feel like it's true.
From you?
Yeah, like
I
know.
Can't believe it.
I know. I'm never that guy.
I
know. I'm Mr. Nice Guy on the show, but I just can't. I can't let this one slide because you're and we should play some of this. Like let's compare and contrast like to what we're talking about so people don't think we're just crazy here. Like I don't know which one you want to play here, but you look at some of these.
Look at that. Listen to this Kevin Durant bite, because I think obviously the Nets were, I don't know, one of the most awkward situations of the entire summer.
Yeah.
And because Jake is a Utah Jazz media guy, we don't have the Kyrie bite. But listen. Okay, I'll move on. Listen to this.
Thanks.
I love you.
He's only got like 50 bites here.
Here's Kevin Durant talking about, his situation with the Nets.
I know I'm that good that you're just not going to give me away. So that's one thing I did appreciate about Sean and Joe is like, yeah, you're too great for us to give you away. Just that easy, that simple. So I get that. I know who I am.
I get that. I know who I am. How about Anthony Davis being asked if he can play all 82 games?
Just the past couple of seasons that I've had, I won't say they're bad, but it's not, for me, it's not, okay, good year. Exactly. Yeah. So my personal goal is just, one, as much as I can play all 82. And then, two, get back to the level of basketball that I know I'm capable of playing.
Which is
being elite and dominant. And then if I do that, I think the rest take care of itself. If it happens, it happens. But like I said, my ultimate goal is, I'd rather have a championship than defensive player of the year. And I'd rather have those. But like I said, my personal goal is to be on the floor for every game and getting back to the dominant elite basketball player that I know I am capable of.
And they straight up asked him, and note that's on the Los Angeles Lakers television channel.
At the practice facility with everything going on behind him.
On the floor, right? Wearing their purple and gold, living the brand. The guy who works for the Lakers asked him, hey, you haven't played a lot of games. Like, are you happy with it? Like, they're asking these guys direct questions like, you look at Jimmy Butler. One of the weirdest things about this offseason, and if you haven't seen it, I warn you to put your hands at 10 and 2 if you're in the car, or if you're making breakfast, maybe be careful with the heat, because Jimmy Butler's hair is shocking.
I think we straight. PJ's a traitor. I tell him every single day. But I love that guy. I love everybody that I've gotten the opportunity to play with and learn from. And we're back at square one,
What is that hair?
Bro, what are you doing, Jimmy?
What is that hair?
Having fun is the name of the game.
And then, of course, there is Kawhi Leonard and John Wall. This is the kind of thing that I wanted from Jazz Media Day yesterday. And we used to get it, like, back with Joe Ingles and, that when the Jazz actually had fun and they weren't, like, all concerned about everything getting out. Look at this with Kawhi Leonard and John Wall.
Hey, Claude.
Oh, some New Balances for sure. You got to spread out your collection a little bit. They Kobe's though, so you good.
The awkward Kawhi laugh is amazing. You got to spread out your collection a little bit.
Hey, Claude.
See, that's remarkable. And I think that's what, so when I say that Jazz Media Day was another lost opportunity, you got none of that.
Yeah.
None of that. Like, you needed a media day. You need that fun, ridiculous stuff.
You didn't have media day. You had press conference day.
Yes.
On an audio line with a bunch of white noise that made it incredibly unenjoyable to listen to it on YouTube. We even listened to it in the car when said radio station was trying to play it, and it was awful because not only was the signal rough, the line is rough.
We were listening to Jake and Ben yesterday, Ben Anderson and Jake, and they're trying to play a Mike Conley press conference.
They're playing it live.
The noise is unbearable, and you can't hear him. You cannot hear him. So they come back, and Ben Anderson literally says, well, Mike didn't talk about it, but he said your mom, your dad, and your cousin. And Mike Conley had just said, well, your mom, your dad, and your cousin. Like, they couldn't even hear it, so they misquoted him being misquoted. And I remind you, they're right there. They're there. That's the Jazz radio station. You're not live on the floor at media day. And I understand it. Hey, obviously we're on YouTube every day. I'm a huge YouTube guy. There's nothing wrong with streaming your media day on YouTube.
YouTube wasn't the issue.
No,
it was the quality and the lack of.
It was the Utah Jazz part-time media guy.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Who couldn't set up a malt box correctly, a box where everybody plugs their microphones in, so there was white noise on it. And you couldn't understand what the guys were saying. You never saw a basketball floor. You didn't see guys dribbling a ball. Like, look at this LeBron clip. This is where is this from? And maybe it's out there and I missed it. If it is, I apologize. Where is this with Walker?
Let's go 3/4 this way.
Where is this awkwardness that look how awkward Russell Westbrook is right here.
Perfect.
That's so awkward.
Yeah.
They had to ask him, and you didn't see it there, but before that clip,
they
said to him, hey, we need you to move closer to LeBron, because there was like a foot of space between them.
Yeah.
Where is that stuff? That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
The Jazz continue to miss these opportunities, and I don't understand it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Every day that you don't go to TryDayTrading.com/Monty, you're missing an opportunity.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Utah Jazz Talk on the Monty Show, presented by TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Again, yesterday I was asked on Twitter DM by somebody who said, please don't say my name. But a guy said, hey, is Tri-Day Trading legit? Is that real? Absolutely, it's real.
Yes.
TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Go register for the webinar. It's free and no obligation. You watch the webinar and you make a decision. Hey, can trading daily, can day trading get me out of my 9-to-5 grind and make me the money that me and my family deserve, so we have that nicer house, my kids have nicer clothes, we get that family vacation that everybody else takes?
Yeah.
Absolutely it does. Stop searching through every side hustle and get to TryDayTrading.com/Monty. No matter where you are, they're a local company right here in Lehigh, Utah. Ryan and the guys at Tri-Day Trading are great. We spent so much time talking to them, learning about their process. But if you're in Florida, I see a guy. If you're in New York, no matter where you're listening to this show, and I know we have a global audience, go to Tri-Day Trading. You too can take their program. It is so easy. You just register for the webinar, and then you make a decision. You're going to register, you're going to watch the webinar, and you're going to say, you know, this doesn't feel like a good fit for me. Okay, great. Walk away from it. But 9 out of 10 people that watch that webinar fully understand that day trading can get you out of your 9-to-5. You can stop getting on that hamster wheel and making somebody else money. And, hey, how many bills can I pay or not pay when I get paid on the 15th?
Yeah.
That's a terrible spot to be in. Hey, can I afford school clothes this year? What am I going to do for Christmas this year? Stop worrying about that stuff, man. Stop worrying about the price of gasoline. Start making the money you and your family deserve by day trading, and do it with TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Get there today, register for the webinar, and then make a decision, Jake. I think it really is that easy.
$273 a day. That's all you have to make $100,000 a year. So $100,000 a year seems like a huge number, but you break it down over 365 days, that's $273 a day.
Yep.
You can do that. That's not that hard to do. It's attainable.
No, it's not that uncommon.
Yes.
If you're not making 6 figures, if you're not making $100,000 a year, ask yourself why not, because you deserve that money. You work hard, man.
And that's why this whole thing, again, I know we say this every day, but I want everyone to hear it. Like, we only chose to partner with Tri-Day because it's no obligation. They're not asking you to commit. All we're asking you to do is literally go to the link on the screen. Put the link on the screen. It's right there. TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Go to that link and watch the webinar. Once you do that, you can make the decision. And that's why I believe in the product, because let's say you do decide to move forward. Hey, this is a fit for me. I do want to explore this more. They're going to give you the education, and then they're going to give you their money to learn with. And if you make money, you split the profit until you feel confident enough to do it with your money. And that, to me, is the beautiful thing about it. How many opportunities do you get in life to go and learn a new skill with no risk involved? There's like I don't know where that
awesome.
opportunity is, man.
It truly is an awesome program.
Yeah.
TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Don't take our word for it. Watch the webinar. Register. It's free. It's no obligation. TryDayTrading.com/Monty. And the final thing I'll say is the number one thing that people ask me about is, hey, do they give you ongoing help or do they just turn you loose? I don't know what I'm doing. The way that the Day Trading program works is they teach you their technique in day trading. They teach you how to, use their system to make good money for yourself, but you get coaching. You have a coach that works with you on an ongoing basis. You're never just turned loose and hoping for the best, because when you're hoping, you're not actually educated using a system. We don't hope, we do. And that's why I say go to TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Let's get your thoughts in here as we talk Utah Jazz basketball. Warren Franklin says Dunkin' Donuts is shutting down at 1 o'clock today. That hurricane in Florida is real.
Damn.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Warren, when you're looking for something to do, when you're hiding from the hurricane, just be safe, man. Be cool. Just take it seriously in Florida, folks. That is, and I know we have a lot of Miami Heat fans that watch the show. Just be cool.
Can we get Kamal's comment right there on the screen?
Where?
Is it Kanai?
Jake should have helped them out with that audio. It was horrible. It was bad yesterday. Like, a lot of fans were
frustrated. That's why I didn't pull it. Honestly, I'm the one who creates all these sound bites and stuff. That's why I didn't pull it, because I felt like it was that bad. It's more white noise than whoever's talking. That's the problem.
And by the way, it's interesting that comes up because we do a lot of that kind of thing.
Yes.
We do a lot of sound. We do a lot of live streaming for people.
Video editing.
We do a ton of it. The thing that I want you to understand is this is not hard to pull off correctly.
Yeah.
It's not hard. You quite literally just need an internet connection, and you need your audio guy to set up a box in the way they did it, which I think this is a huge mistake. The way they did it is set up a table, have a backdrop, and let people ask you questions. Instead of have the players on the floor taking pictures, have a desk for your guys to sit down and do radio, and then have them do group sessions with the media who don't need your mult box. They hold a microphone up for you.
Yes.
That's what they should have done. Instead, they put a box where you plug all the stuff into, and they set it up incorrectly. So the live stream was a
video-wise, it was fine. Quality-wise, for the video portion, it was fine. The audio was the issue.
Oh, James Knight. Great to see Bob Marley suiting up for the Heat this season. Dude, look at, I'm not even kidding. Look at Jimmy Butler's hair.
I think we straight. PJ's a traitor. I tell him every single day. But I love that guy. I love everybody that I've gotten the opportunity to play with and learn from. And we're back at square one,
I don't get it. I could be wrong. And I'm open to the idea.
Yeah.
That I could be. Could you imagine me in dreadlocks?
No.
Oh, my God.
Nope.
Like,
nope.
I don't know what Jimmy Butler's doing.
Here's what Jimmy knows. Jimmy knows he is the team and can do whatever he wants. So he's doing whatever the hell he wants. I'm not a dread guy, obviously. Jimmy is, I guess. That's cool.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, man. I think that's crazy.
It's out there, bro.
That's crazy. I do want to seriously get into this conversation about who's winning and who's losing, because I think when you look at, in all seriousness, I want to play this Kevin Durant drop again, and just to ask yourself, what team in the NBA is better than the Nets? Because I don't think there is one.
I know I'm that good that you're just not going to give me away. So that's one thing I did appreciate about Sean and Joe is like, yeah, you're too great for us to give you away. Just that easy, that simple. So I get that. I know who I am.
So I'm just asking.
Yeah.
What team's better than the Brooklyn Nets right now? Because I don't see. I think they are head and shoulders the best team in the East.
Yeah, I mean, when you have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, I think that's a huge thing. And then, obviously, if we give Ben Simmons the benefit of the doubt that he'll play 70 games this year, he'll play a full slate.
Another great example of a guy yesterday at Media Day talking about, hey, I'm ready to go, and physically I feel as good as I felt in a long time. Like Ben Simmons available talking about mental health.
Yeah, and I think, the thing that I would say about it, like from a Media Day standpoint with the Nets, is you understand the storylines. You understand like what what people, the media, the public, your fan base wants to talk about. And I think that to me is the missed opportunity. Like with the Jazz, I would want to, I give the Jazz credit for putting out more content. Like if you go to their YouTube channel, they've been doing small pieces, like 2-3 minute pieces, like that thing about going to, Rio Tinto. I think that was last week. They did a thing on Will Hardy. Like, you look at their YouTube channel and they're doing some things, and that's great. But I think there's this big misnomer in the content creation world, especially in sports. People think that you can just throw out anything and it'll be fine. Like, hey, you can just do whatever and it'll be fine. Like, you can't just do whatever. There should be, and maybe this is the bigger issue, there should be expectations of what the Jazz should be putting out, or what the Nets or the Lakers or whatever organization or team, RSL, whoever, the Bees, the Grizzlies, BYU, whoever you want to point to, there's expectations, and you got to live up to those expectations. And when you don't, people need to talk about it, which is why we're talking about it. So I think when I hear Kevin on Media Day say, hey, yeah, I know who I am, I know how good I am, and he said in another bite, at a different point that, he felt like they were losing games they shouldn't be losing when he was out.
So what he said was, Kevin Durant got rolled up on and he hyperextended his knee.
Yeah.
And he had a knee sprain. So he missed 10 games straight. Kevin Durant said, we lost games doing things we shouldn't have been doing that cost us games. We lost games we shouldn't have lost because we were doing things we shouldn't have been doing, and it made him question Steve Nash, and it made him lose confidence in the organization. So he said, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
But I think all that's water under the bridge. I'll go back to the question I originally asked you. I think they're championship mettle.
Yeah, the point I was getting to is that when you hear Kevin Durant talking about this stuff, it tells me that he's back in the right mindset. It tells me that, stuff like that is water under the bridge. That was kind of the point I was trying to make. Like, they captured those moments, and now I know, okay, yeah, Kevin's locked in. Kyrie seemingly is locked in. I get to see Ben Simmons.
Kyrie talking about how he wants to earn another contract extension there. Yesterday, Kyrie Irving said, yeah, I know, this is it. I'm ready to earn a contract extension. And I don't know how many people saw that pretty much now across all of North America, the mask mandates and the vax mandates have been lifted.
Yeah.
So Kyrie can now play in every building in the league.
Mm-hmm.
He's ready to rock and roll. He talked openly about that he felt like the vaccination, his refusal to get vaccinated, hurt his trade. Like, I thought this was one of the best bites at Media Day yesterday, was Kyrie Irving saying that he felt like he was really close to being traded, but he had like 2 suitors. And we talked about this on the show. We had heard this from NBA sources that people didn't want to pick him up because of his baggage. And he said, well, no, I can't. But Kyrie said, I understand that this vax thing hurt my reputation. It damaged me. It cost me $100 million.
Yeah.
And he said straight up, I need to overcome that. And I want to earn a contract extension in Brooklyn. Like, to get there from where we were,
it's pretty damn good.
It's crazy.
Yep.
And when you look at Joe Harris yesterday saying, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm 100%. There's no excuses. Which, by the way, this reminds me very much of the kid who quit, Dallin Holker, who quit the BYU team last week. What did every BYU player say when they were asked about that, including Harris LaChance on this show? We can win with him or we'll win without him. We love him, but he's not here anymore.
Yep.
What did we get out of the Nets yesterday? Yeah, I'm ready to go. No excuses. No excuses.
Yeah.
No excuses. Like, there are no excuses this year when you have Kevin Durant making $44 million, Kyrie making $37, Ben Simmons making $35, Joe Harris making $19, Royce O'Neal making $9.2. I'm telling you, this is the best team in the East. I'm a huge believer in Philly, and we've talked about that ad nauseum.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in Philly.
Let's settle this right now.
I think Philly's got a trade deadline deal that they have to make if they want to win a championship. If they make that deal and Tobias Harris, God bless him for being the highest paid player on that roster.
Donnie, please.
But if they make that deal and he's now the 4th option or 5th option, and Tyrese Maxey shows himself to it, because it really should be in Philly, Joe 1, Tyrese 2, James Harden 3. James Harden joking he lost 100 pounds, which I thought was hysterical at Media Day. Zion Williamson talking about his weight loss.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of things changing. The Eastern Conference is going to be a battle. That Celtics thing yesterday, good Lord, dude. They all talked about how they were crushed. The Boston Celtics yesterday talked about how they were crushed, which is amazing to me because you can get crushed pepper amongst the seasonings at Barbecue Pit Stop.
Bro, you're on your game today, bro.
What do you mean?
Damn.
You know. You've got to get to any of the 5 Utah locations for Barbecue Pit Stop because those guys, A, really support this show. But B, my wife did it again yesterday. Used the Kinder taco seasoning on some ground turkey for us. I had a lovely bowl that you will be paying for all day today of corn and turkey meat with Kinder taco seasoning that we got at Barbecue Pit Stop.
Yeah, it was bomb.com.
And listen, I know that we talk about Barbecue Pit Stop ad nauseum on this show, whether it's the asada seasoning that crushed some wings. You look at Barbecue Pit Stop, and I get it. Yoder smokers, Traeger smokers. I'm a Traeger guy personally. Love the brand. Okay, we get it, Rooster. I'm Maverick, you're Rooster.
Right.
I get it.
Okay.
The point is, I'm a Traeger guy. Ironwood 885. Love it. It is unbelievable. I'm telling you right now, the best part about Barbecue Pit Stop is a tie for first. The seasoning, spices, rubs, and sauces can't beat it. The guys that know how to smoke and what you need to use, the best seasoning for chicken or pork or brisket, steaks, turkey. They know how to get the job done at Barbecue Pit Stop. You can chat with them on their website, barbecuepitstop.com, BBQ, and you see it on your screen, 1T, bbqpitstop.com, or go into any of their 5 Utah locations from St. George to Logan, Lehigh, Layton, and Salt Lake City in Murray. They're just good people to do business with. They know what they're doing. barbecuepitstop.com. Tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. It is 7:30 talking NBA. So, do you agree or disagree? I think the Brooklyn Nets are the best team in the East.
Yeah, I think they're the best team in the East. I think they have the most talent, and I think that Kevin Durant is still the best scorer in the league. And I think when you have a Kevin Durant-level player on your team, it's hard to argue that they are the best team. But my big concern comes in when we talk about these guys playing together and how it's all going to work out. Like, you know, you need Joe Harris to be reliable in the corner and stay healthy. You need Ben Simmons to play, you know, at least 65 games. I'd love to see him in the 70s this year for games played. You know, I would love to see, you know, from the get, these guys work together from game one to build the chemistry. Because honestly, like, it can't, like, I felt like a lot of times last year it was just run and gun. And then when they had to play half court, it was like, all right, we're working the offense, but we're not really getting anywhere because we're not playing as a team. So let's just give it to Kevin and he'll bail us out. And that's why Kevin had a bunch of 40-point games. You know, with all due respect to Kevin, ideally he'd be 30 points a night and have 8 or 9 assists, let's say, or maybe not so many assists, but more rebounds. And other guys are scoring and contributing, because the goal is not to have scoring championships for Kevin Durant. The goal is to have balanced offense that is efficient and easy, so Kevin Durant doesn't have to work as hard, so that Joe Harris can get those 6 or 7 attempts from 3 and knock down 4 of them, and 2 of those 4 were wide open looks in the corner because they ran good offense. That's what you're trying to do. And so if they can put it together on the floor and it works properly, yeah, I think they are by far the best team in the East. But I still maintain the edge that they got to figure out to overcome is the chemistry piece, because Philly has it. Boston has it. You know, Miami's got it. Not that Miami, I think, is a contender to win the East, but
I would agree with that. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
You get what I'm saying is, like, they got to find the chemistry.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. That chemistry word is so often thrown around, and I know that we tend to just use it interchangeably. But one of the questions that I have is, who's actually got chemistry? I like, if you start in the West, like I look at Minnesota, I have no idea what that team's going to be. Honestly, that's either going to be like a juggernaut that's impossible to beat, or that's going to be a team that's really going to struggle because of chemistry.
Yeah.
I look at the Golden State Warriors, it's over. They've got chemistry. They're going to the playoffs. They're probably going to contend for another title. Yeah. Seriously, you know what you have in Minnesota.
You know what you got.
The question is Kuminga and Wiseman. Like, to me, that's one of the more fascinating things. The Clay, Dre contract stuff, that's all going to work itself out. What about Andrew Wiggins? Can you now count on Andrew Wiggins to carry your team? There's all these questions, but they're all in the positive.
Yeah.
So I look out west, and the other team I think you have to talk about is the LA Lakers, Jake, and I think you have to talk about them because of what you saw yesterday at Media Day. And I think when you listen to LeBron James talk about winning championships, if you're a fan of a Western Conference team, this should terrify you.
Injuries, unfortunate circumstances. Are you motivated to get back to that spot?
Absolutely. You know, there's definitely a chip on my shoulder, a chip on our shoulder. And, you know, just wearing this uniform is unacceptable. It's just unacceptable not to be able to compete for a championship. And I know that's long term, and that's something that we're not going to talk much about. But listen, I could look right up there, and it speaks for itself.
There they are.
You know, and I happen to be a part of one of those trophies up there. So, but it's about putting the work in. You know, every single day, you know, we want to come in with our hard hats on and put the work in. And if we can do that, then we'll put ourselves in a position to be able to compete, you know, every single night at a championship level.
Man, that's terrifying because he's saying all the right things. And then you listen to Anthony Davis, and I think when you listen to Anthony Davis and you hear him talking about all 82, again, I just say when you hear this Anthony Davis bite, tell me that this is not terrifying.
Just the past couple of seasons that I've had, I won't say they're bad, but it's not, for me, it's not, okay, you know, good year. Exactly. Yeah. So my personal goal is just, one, as much as I can play all 82. And then, two, get back to the level of basketball that I know I'm capable of playing. Which is being elite and dominant. You know, and then if I do that, I think the rest take care of itself. You know, if it happens, it happens. But like I said, my ultimate goal is, you know, I'd rather have a championship than defensive player of the year. And like, I'd rather have those. But like I said, my personal goal is to be on the floor for every game and getting back to the dominant elite basketball player that I know I am capable of.
That's terrifying to me.
What I don't like there, though, what I don't like is how hesitant he is. You said it to me last night before I went and found this bite.
We were listening to Laker Media Day. We were listening to the replays that are available everywhere on the internet. Thank you. And he was asked straight away, "Hey, can you play all 82 games?" And he hesitated. He was like, "Well, he wouldn't just come out and say, my goal is to play all 82 games."
He wouldn't say what Kyrie said. Hey, I know it's a prove-it year. I got to earn my contract. Hey, I know I've been injury prone. That's got to come to an end this year, and I'm going to do my damnedest to do that.
Yeah, man. I think it is. The Lakers are terrifying. Marlon Shaw gives us a $5 tip. What's up, Marlon? Appreciate you, buddy. He says, thanks for the props for us in Florida. I'm settling in for storm and ready to go, just hoping for not much power outage, dude. Please be careful, man. Like, really take precautions. You look at this storm, look at that thing, and you can see it. Miami's getting the storm surge now. The eye of that hurricane is supposed to landfall up in Tampa. And if you look up the coast in Tampa there, I mean, that is a massive storm. The entire state is going to be impacted.
The eye is going to run up the west coast of Florida there, and then it's going to jot across the state.
Yeah, in Florida, there's two very different ecosystems in Florida. I've spent a lot of time there in my life, frankly. The Gulf Coast, which is the Gulf of Mexico, so Tampa, St. Pete, is very different than the Atlantic coast of Florida. And the way that storms impact, when they come up through the islands, when they go over Cuba,
warm waters,
Belize, like you get
Havana.
It goes right over Havana, Cuba. Like, those things are crazy storms. Yeah. And you just go back to what happened in New Orleans. Like, everybody on the Gulf Coast in the southeast part of this country is terrified by this storm.
Yeah.
It's supposedly going to track where it makes landfall across Tampa. But if you're in Miami, you're already seeing storm surge. So please, Marlon, be careful, dude. I know that you don't need me to tell you that, man, but really be cool, bro. Like, keep us up to date on your situation, man. I'd love to hear. And Marlon, if you're on Twitter or Instagram, tag me, dude. Like find me and let me know how things are going. We'll be thinking about you. Brett Burnett says, Jazz likely make another trade or two. We'll buy out a player or two to save money. We'll get to 15 soon enough. Well, you're going to have to make a trade.
Yeah.
My guess is you're going to have to make a trade. And my guess is you're not going to – I highly doubt that you're going to make a trade with Mike Conley now.
Mm-hmm.
My feeling is Malik Beasley's the guy. From what I've heard and what – people are saying, Malik Beasley is probably that guy.
Right.
But you're probably, one of these young guys has to go. And if you look at Jared Butler, man, there's not a whole lot of reason to keep him on the roster at this point.
Nope.
I mean, if you really look at the build of this Jazz team,
yeah,
what's the reason to keep him on the roster?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there is a big reason. I think it's another one of those, hey, we drafted this guy and we want it to work out, so we're kind of, squeezing the fruit as much as we can, if you will, to try to get the juice, but it's not happening. And I think that, he's a classic Jazz example of someone who's probably going to go to another organization and flourish.
Yep.
And that's unfortunate.
Yep, totally agree. James Knight says, with Harris and Mills on the perimeter, KD will be extremely effective. Well, Patty Mills is ever present in their conversations. I mean, he's a guy that last year, I think, as James, you're well aware, in Australia. James, for those of you who don't know, James Knight is in Australia. I think Patty's one of those guys who proved his worth on this team. You need that knockdown shooter that Kevin Durant likes playing with, and it's very clear he likes playing with Patty Mills. So Joe Harris needs to show he can be counted on.
Yes.
Because the injuries have started stacking up. Cody Strickland, good morning, buddy. He says, I didn't know Golden State Warriors were in Minnesota. I'm not sure what that comment means. Did I misspeak? Josh Lovren says West. James Knight said, I had to check if it was on TNT with all the Lakers grabs. Funny. See, because the Lakers are always on TNT.
Right.
M. Morris says, got some hair work done. Who got some hair work done? Good morning, San Diego State Aztec says from NorCal. What's up? Where in NorCal are you? Boyd Lake says, Anthony Street Clothes Davis. I'll believe it when I see it.
Agreed.
Yep,
Agreed.
totally. Brent says, Jared Butler will be bought out or traded with a vet. Hate to see Clarkson traded. Jazz have too many guards. Well, you've kind of flipped the script now.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the way this roster's built, and I think Malik Beasley has tremendous value around this league.
Mm-hmm.
Honest to goodness, he has turned
can play.
himself into a legitimate three-point threat. I will just say the Lakers have tremendous interest in him.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised to see that a deal with the Lakers get done. JP says, Danny Ainge always operates this way. Difference is in Boston, he had trust because he had history there. That isn't the case here. By the way, did anybody see Danny Ainge hanging out at BYU the other night?
Yep.
That's a basketball junkie. That guy is a basketball junkie.
Yeah.
And I actually think, and we'll talk college basketball on the show, obviously, I think this is a big year for BYU basketball. I mean, the basketball issues in this state are just so perplexing. Utah and BYU should be far better than they are. And I wonder what year one of these programs breaks out and becomes elite again. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
Mike Maple says they sent us home from Florida a week early. Glad to be home avoiding that hurricane. Yeah, no kidding, right? Brent says lots of forwards and likely Gay bought out or traded to Boston. I think Rudy Gay is clearly a target to be traded.
Yeah, and he's a malcontent right now, in my opinion.
Well, he just doesn't fit on this team.
Yeah.
And I don't know that he's a malcontent currently. He clearly was a problem for Quinn Snyder at the end of last year.
Yeah.
I mean, and Danny was there for that. I don't see a whole lot of guys on this roster right now that the Jazz are just outright cutting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're outright cutting anybody. I mean, I think there's a lot of value and opportunities, for moves and stuff. But that's why I say, we're now at the starting line of building this team into a championship winner because you made all these, the Bogdanovich, the Donnie, the Rudy, the Royce trades with intent. You knew why you wanted to make those deals. But now Danny Ainge's job is just beginning because now the hard part starts. What do I do to put together a championship team? And this is where Danny Ainge has to go to work.
Yeah, I look at the bottom half of this roster. The guy that makes the most sense is Saban Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got paid for him already. So, I mean, the Detroit, I don't know how many people saw in that trade. Detroit sent the same amount of money that Saban Lee's contract is at.
Right.
So, I mean, they got paid for him. That makes a lot of sense to me. Jared Butler makes a lot of sense to me. And frankly, Udoka Azubuike is just not an NBA player.
Yeah.
I just don't see those three guys obviously are the most obvious choices, but yeah. I don't know what you do if you're Danny Ainge. I don't know what you do in what you value right now because I mean, there are trades out there that you could make. Jordan Clarkson's got four teams that would really like to add him. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that Dallas, the Lakers, Chicago, and Philadelphia would love to have Jordan Clarkson.
Right.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, he's a bucket off the bench. There's no doubt.
I mean, he is a valuable addition to any bench.
Yeah.
And you look at what, like, one of the rumors that's been hot lately is Jordan Clarkson of the Chicago Bulls, because they need a proven bench scorer.
Yeah.
And I actually think the Bulls are very interesting, obviously, as a more than casual observer of My R&We.
Right.
Jerry Reinsdorf's not dead yet, and he hasn't sold the team, so we won't win championships. Maybe Tony La Russa can coach the Bulls.
And when I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
My point is, this is a very interesting year for the Bulls. I mean, you have a lot of players that do a lot of things. But what do you make of DeMar DeRozan? How long can he play at a high level? Is Zach LaVine a guy you can count on health-wise?
Well, how long are you going to be in a playoff window and not win a championship? That's the thing. I mean,
how long are you going to be in that window with Lonzo Ball's knee doing what it's doing?
How about LiAngelo and LaMelo in Charlotte?
In Charlotte, LiAngelo's going to get a shot in Charlotte. But I mean, I look at the Chicago Bulls as a real suitor. Mike Conley probably makes too much money, but they need an upgrade at guard. And you look at guys like, and this is Alex Caruso. You're asking Alex Caruso to do more than he is capable of doing. He's not a guy that you need to come off the bench and score.
Yeah.
Right? But you have a young guy in Ayo Dosunmu in Chicago. Jordan Clarkson's a huge upgrade as a sixth man.
Facts.
So that's absolutely the case. You look at the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, if they add a Jordan Clarkson to that team.
Yeah. That's dangerous.
They're dangerous now. You add if Malik Beasley winds up in Los Angeles, they're absolutely dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I think the East, for teams like Philly or Brooklyn or Boston, whoever you want to point to in the East, I think picking up guys like Jordan Clarkson to be your sixth man is always a viable option, always something that you're considering and looking at. I just think that. My big thing with the Jazz right now is don't just make trades just to make them. Like, don't just make, like, mercurial, like, yep, we're making this trade because we need to make a trade. Like, I hope that the intent behind the trade still remains alive and well because, frankly, the Bogdanovich trade just wasn't one of those. It just felt like you did it because you had to do it because you didn't want Bogey to be in camp with you.
Yep, the Monty Show presented by the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. Damn right, it's the Advocates. UtahAdvocates.com. Football at 50 in 4 minutes. Big update on Brant Keithy and Gunnar Romney for you on Football at 50, and we'll have an update on this hurricane situation with the Tampa Bay Bucks as well. 4 minutes on Football at 50. But I think when you look at the Bulls, I think one of the things that you have to ask is the same question that Kenai Johnson's asking. What did Chicago offer for Clarkson? The problem is the salaries are very difficult in Chicago.
Yes.
You go from Lonzo Ball down to Alex Caruso making $9 million. You go to, a guy like Patrick Williams doesn't net you Jordan Clarkson, right? Like, I mean, you're not trying to trade Pat.
Yeah.
I mean, the most obvious candidates are Kobe White. And I think you get down the roster a little bit and you look at a guy like a Javonte Green. But the Chicago Bulls are not trading Ayo Dosunmu. You're not trading, you're not trading anybody at the top of that roster.
Kobe White would be a fit here in Salt Lake.
Well,
I mean, he fits in with what you're doing.
Certainly, I think Kobe White, but Kobe White's only making $7 million. And the question becomes...
to balance the money is tough.
The question becomes, how are you going to balance that money? And I think when you look at what they have, I just don't know that there's a legitimate Jordan Clarkson trade to be made there because now you're in a situation where that doesn't necessarily work. And the beauty of the Gobert to Chicago trade was you had all the right pieces in all the right places making all the right money.
Yeah.
And that's not the case anymore. And the bigger issue now is the Chicago Bulls have become very top heavy on their cap.
And that's their problem overall on the floor too. Not to cut you off there, but isn't that the primary issue? Like, you have DeMar, but he's getting older. Zach LaVine has been injury prone, and you haven't had enough to really contend in the playoffs.
And you're going to pay Nikola Vucevic to be a part-time player. You're going to pay him $22 million.
Which is rough on its own.
Because you have to be better defensively.
Yeah.
So I think when you look at where this roster is, it's just really surprising to me that you still have Conley and Clarkson on this roster, frankly. And I think Kenai and the other people have mentioned it. I think it is going to be interesting to see what the Bulls, the Sixers, the Lakers, frankly, I think the Dallas Mavericks are far from done. I think they would like to add far more. So we'll see what that looks like. Jeff Johnson, good morning to you. Morning, boys. Coming at you live, fixing a toilet in the heart of Cougar Nation. Let's go.
There you go.
My man, Jeff, good to see you.
What's the feel down in Provo, man? What's the vibe? What are people feeling?
Well, the feel down in Provo got a lot better yesterday, and that is because BYU's going to lead football at 50, presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza. Papa Murphy's Pizza. Download the Papa Murphy's app. Order your pizza. You can order it at 10 o'clock and say, hey, I'm not going to pick that up till 5 o'clock. You'll walk in the door. It's going to be fresh and ready. Make sure you click the box and get the take and bake chocolate chip cookie dough.
So good.
Au contraire, my frere, mon frere guy, Pepe Le Pew.
Right, yeah.
You put those cookies on the smoker and you're good to go. You, too, can have the greatest night of your life. I don't know. The take and bake chocolate chip cookie dough at Papa Murphy's is amazing.
Yeah.
Make sure that you order pizza with barbecue sauce on it. That's what us real men do.
Yeah, barbecue sauce and pineapple. You feel me?
Damn it. Papa Murphy's app. Download it today. Use the promo code Monty25, M-O-N-T-Y, Monty25 for 25% off your order of $25 or more at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Obviously, the biggest story is injuries in Utah college football. The bad news is Brant Keithy's out for the year at Utah. I think we all knew this as soon as we saw it Saturday. It was a gnarly injury.
Yeah.
Torn knee ligaments is the assumption. They don't release specifics of injuries at Utah. Brant Keithy done for the year. And the interesting comment out of Kyle Whittingham yesterday was Whit talking about maybe Keithy's not done.
The big downer from the game was Brant Keithy. He's lost for the season. And that's a big blow to our offense. He was a huge part of what we do offensively, but we'll have to have guys step up and pick up the slack. It means an opportunity for Thomas Yasmin, Munir McLean, Landon Kendall or Logan Kendall, and so they've got to pick it up, and we'll miss him. And he's a great leader, great person. It breaks your heart to see something like that happen to a senior. Silver lining, if there is one, he's inside the 5 games. You get 4 games to redshirt. He did have a redshirt year, so if he chooses and wants the opportunity to come back next season, that's available to him.
Could Brant Keithy redshirt and come back next season? Man, I find that hard to believe. That's another year. He should have gone out after last year, obviously. You know the risk-reward quotient here. Mm-hmm. If you're Brant Keithy, are you coming back to the Utes or going to the National Football League?
I think this is pretty straightforward. I mean, you have a major knee injury. Not that modern medicine can't fix that for you, because obviously it can.
Sure.
I would be going to the league. I mean, I just don't think that it's worth your time or effort and energy to go back, but he'll make his decision.
And then there is BYU versus Utah State Thursday night. You already know that BYU is a 24.5-point favorite.
I thought you said they were like a 100-point favorite.
No, BYU is a 24.5-point favorite.
On the New Skin Radio Network.
Over the Wagon Wheel MFers in Logan, taking down the Wagon Wheel here on BYU TV. 24.5-point favorite. Maybe they cover because Gunnar Romney is going to be back Thursday night against Utah State. This is a huge ad. Obviously, Puka Nacua will not be back Thursday night after re-injuring that ankle, but this is a big pickup, Jake. What does Gunnar Romney mean to the BYU offense?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've been talking about, like yesterday on the show, we talked about how they were limited with their weapons and their run game was really hurting them. So, the fact that he'll be available and you may, get a big play or two out of him, I think is huge. But my biggest concern here with this Utah State game is injuries. I mean, example, Puka comes back for one game and then he re-injures it. Like, that's what you're trying to avoid here.
Puka Nacua.
Yeah, and I think that BYU can't absorb, just endless injuries. You can't. You need these guys.
His name is Puka, and he plays at BYU. I don't know. Anyway, the point is, I agree. Gunnar Romney's a huge addition to this offense. I think what you got from Cosper, obviously the run game got a huge upgrade. Like, now you need momentum. Obviously, you hung in there, you beat Wyoming. Now you got to take that next step forward, and you've got to throttle Utah State. BYU, without Puka, are favored by 24.5 points. That's a huge number.
Yeah.
Again, 2 days away. Do they cover? Does BYU cover the 24.5?
Not on a Thursday night.
Without Puka.
Yeah, not on a Thursday night.
His name is Puka.
Nakua.
Anyway, the point is, they're covering that 24.5. Maybe sometime next year they'll cover it because it won't be Thursday night. Utah State's getting inside that 24.5. But I think obviously you have a lot of reasons to be enthusiastic, to be excited. And I think when you look at what this does to the throw game, obviously this makes Jaron the better player. This makes him a more able quarterback. This gives him more weapons.
Yeah.
This allows you to open up things. Hopefully Gunner's, hopefully he's healthy. A lacerated kidney is nothing to play with, right?
Yeah.
Kidney infections, kidney problems, my God.
Yeah.
They are just not good.
Yeah.
At all. On any level. So my point is, hopefully Gunner's back, and he's the Gunner that we all know and enjoy watching.
Yeah.
Makes Jaron better, makes the run game better, because again, if you can continue to get production behind Jaron, this is a good offense now. And I think with what Cosper gave you, what Cody Epps gave you, it would be nice to see Chase Roberts get back on the field and be that guy that you hope for. Like, you got to start becoming what you are offensively, because you've got Arkansas and Notre Dame coming up, and those are no cupcakes.
Yeah.
I think that game in a couple of weeks in Las Vegas, good Lord.
Big deal.
That
Got to be
is
healthy.
Absolutely a big deal. Football at 50 presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza. Let's talk about the big show, the National Football League. The Tampa Bay Bucks are relocating to Miami because Hurricane Ian is wreaking havoc already on the state of Florida. Look at Miami. I don't know if you guys saw the news this morning all over the tweet machine where like manhole covers are floating up out of the ground.
Is that not intimidating if you're in Miami?
Oh, dude.
Like, I would be like, all right, yeah, we'll see you guys later. I'm gonna go ahead and pack the car up and head north.
And again, this is not the eye of the storm.
Yeah.
This is what they call the storm surge. All that rain that comes to land before the storm actually, hits the eye of the storm.
Yes.
And if you look at that storm twisting, what's going to happen is it's going to curl up the Gulf Coast of Florida, and it is going to make landfall in Tampa.
Yeah.
So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are moving south. They will now take over the Miami Dolphins facility. The Dolphins play on Thursday on the road. Their facility is open. The Tampa Bay Bucks will take over in Miami. But Jake, again, I just always ask this question when we see hurricanes. Do you want a hurricane? Do you want a tornado? Or do you want an earthquake?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to go earthquake, bro, because you're at least, your stuff's not like 10 miles away or under like 50 feet of water.
Okay, so the water makes your stuff mold and smell bad. The tornado throws your stuff all over the neighborhood, and you're never going to get it back. And your little small Honda Civic CRV with a shopping cart aftermarket wing on the trunk lid.
Yeah.
It's going to be in, Jimmy and Karen's
tree. It's going to
be
in Kapitsky.
Yeah, it's going to be capitulating into a tree. And my point is, I'll take an earthquake. Because at least if, there's a hole in my floor, I know where my stuff fell.
Yeah.
I'll take an
earthquake. I can just go down there in that hole and dig it out.
I just say tornadoes as a kid terrified me.
Yeah.
I spent more than 5 nights in a bathtub sleeping because there were tornadoes around northern Illinois. Nah, I'm fine.
I'm good.
I'll take an earthquake. What does this do to your boy TB12? I mean, him and Giselle Bundchen have been apparently, did you hear this news, separated for over a month.
Damn.
Over a month.
Dude, that's a long time.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, obviously Tom's going to figure it out. I they're going to do the best they can.
You mean Tommy?
Tommy.
Talking with Raphael podcast says, I love the news bar below. The ticker?
Yes, the proper nomenclature is the ticker.
It's been there since we put up this new setup, though. Marlon Shaw says, hurricanes you can prepare for.
Hello.
Big plus.
Yeah.
He gives us a $2 tip.
That's actually a fair point.
Yeah, Wings of Gumby says, how about an earthquake in a high-rise building? Well, now Why would you bring that up? That's terrifying.
Nah,
to me.
I'm fine. Can I just...
What about what's worse, an earthquake in a high-rise or a fire in a high-rise? Have you ever heard the movie The Towering Inferno?
No.
You've never heard of that?
Never heard of that.
You probably weren't even
Is this some
boiling in the bag.
80s classic that you're going to crucify me for?
I think it's like a late 70s classic.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather have neither.
Yeah, can I just pass on both?
Brett Burnett says Jizzy has been called out by Tom. She basically forced him out of retirement.
Jizzy.
Zayman says an earthquake in the Gulf may not be the best with tsunami potential for Florida.
Excellent point, sir.
Okay, does Florida have earthquakes? Jesus, I don't want to know that Florida has earthquakes.
No, I don't think it does.
My God. Jeff Johnson says, growing up in SoCal, another earthquake is just another Tuesday. I remember tons while in class, then getting right back without skipping a beat. All right, back to trigonometry.
Yeah, get your rulers out.
All right, earthquake's over. Pythagorean theory, triangle, isosceles, and stuff.
Yeah, can you get your Texas calculator out?
Yeah, Texas Instruments
and stuff.
Let's see. James Knight says, how's the weather in Salt Lake at this time of year, guys? We're just coming out of winter here. It's gorgy. It'll be middle 80s today with sunshine. It's fine. Football 50, 10 of the hour, every hour. On the Monty Show is presented by our good friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza.
No one goes all in on made-from-scratch freshness like Papa Murphy's. We go all in on quality. All in on craft. And on the Triple Pep Pizza, we go all in on pepperoni. Because when you go all in, people notice. Go all in with a limited-time Triple Pep Pizza, topped with 3 types of pepperoni for just $11.99. Papa Murphy's. Change the way you pizza.
The Triple Pep. I had a good argument on Twitter yesterday with a guy who said, yes,
Bro,
what?
What are you doing right now?
What do you mean?
You're
I'm waiting.
serious.
I'm waiting
You're
for this.
serious.
I'm waiting for the secret Nike Air Jordan 1 low drop to happen.
The secret classified, so if you thought about it, it's declassified, so you should have access. But the classified shoe drop apparently is what you're doing right now.
Yes, because they're not telling us what that secret shoe drop is.
Uh-huh.
Because Michael Jordan just likes to be a jerk about it.
Right.
So you have to get a little crazy, and hope for the best on these Jordan drops. So as I sit here, it's 8 o'clock, and every day at 8 o'clock Mountain Time.
You turn on the Monty Show, brought to you by the Advocates.
UtahAdvocates.com on BYU TV. Because that's where you go when you are in an accident. In all seriousness, the Advocates are the best in the business for one reason and one reason only. They will fight for you like they're fighting for themselves. They are your advocate. That's why they called their firm The Advocates, because they advocate for you. Because when you've been in an accident, it's a very difficult time of your life. Hey, are you able to battle some insurance company or some insurance adjuster who, says he's only going to give you $100 when you should get $1 million? That happens every day in this country. Do you understand that major insurance companies do not want to pay you a penny more than you will make them pay you? Because they know that if you don't have an attorney, they're going to take advantage of you. Don't let that happen. It's not your fault you were in an accident. You deserve to be made whole again, and that's why you go to UtahAdvocates.com. There's no retainers. Your consultations are free. You don't pay the advocates until they win your case. That's the best part of it all. You concentrate on getting healthy. They concentrate on getting you paid at the Advocates. UtahAdvocates.com. Chat with them online. UtahAdvocates.com. Yeah, so my point is, all these Jordan drops that we're waiting for, every week in September, they've released like a super fly awesomeness.
Go crazy, super rare, $8,000 shoe,
and
brother.
Stuff. And they haven't done it yet this week. And they have teased us. They have teased us as though they were a 6-foot blonde. And they have not released it yet. So I'm not just over here like, oh, what got dropped today? But Mrs. Monty should be all about this Air Max 1.
She ain't about that Air Max 1 life.
Tour Yellow that was released today. You don't like it?
Damn, she shut it down.
Dude, she has got terrible taste.
She shut it down,
Admittedly,
bro.
she has terrible taste in shoes. Yeah, she doesn't understand it. And that's why her first name's Puka. So it is what it is. She actually has very good taste in shoes. as is displayed by her shoe today. Find her on Twitter, Mrs. B Monty on Instagram, and Mrs. Monty Show on Twitter. She'll actually post a picture of her shoes on her Twitter account right now so that you can see them. And they are amazing. The biggest stories in sports this morning, I don't think there's any doubt that it is Utah Jazz Media Day yesterday was less than stellar. And, you know, as Jazz fans, I wonder your thoughts on this. You know, like I'm not immune to the fact that people are worn out on the Jazz making mistakes. And we hear that a lot, like, hey, let's be positive. Let's look at – but I don't know that that does justice to people who are here to talk Jazz basketball and really want to know, like, hey, who are they going to trade? Are they going to trade? Can we trust Danny Ainge? Like, is this a playoff team this year? Like, those are all legitimate, real questions, I think, Jake. And when you see the way that the Jazz have operated all the way back to that jersey release, not getting a new TV deal – continuing to struggle with their radio deal. Why are their games not on KSL radio? I have no idea. But you continue to see their struggles in executing basic business functions in the NBA.
Yeah.
And it does give me pause about their viability as an organization.
Yeah, and my biggest thing here is just execution, man. Like, I just, you know, when we talked about this before, we kind of talked about the ease of which you can do a lot of this stuff. Like yesterday, what they did, and we'll get into that in a minute, but like what they did was just inexcusable because it's not difficult to do. We're not talking trigonometry and rocket science here. You know, what we're talking about is plugging a cable in the right way or setting something up the right way or making sure you have good distribution on TV, you know, and hey, I know, hey, they're in a TV deal or a distribution deal that expires. And so they got to deal with that. Okay. I totally understand that. I that's the nature of doing business. All right, great. But then is it unfair of me to expect Ryan Smith and company to have an absolute savage rollout of a new Utah Jazz TV network? Is it inappropriate for me to expect them to have, you know, just much better execution on the media front, whether it's media day or in-season pieces or whatever, like anything that you would do around an NBA franchise, it should be at the highest level, especially because you're a tech billionaire. It would be different if you were a real estate mogul and knew nothing about media and basketball, but that's just not the case, right? Remember, again, and this is me holding people accountable, what was the bill of goods that we were sold? I'm Ryan Smith. I grew up a Jazz fan. I grew up in Utah. I want to carry the torch from the Millers forward to championship caliber basketball. And by the way, I made my money in the tech industry with Qualtrics. That's essentially the bill of goods we were sold on Ryan Smith. So to me, I feel like we were told, hey, we're going to usher in this new era of Jazz basketball, and that's going to come with a ton of new stuff and a ton of great things. But I feel like that hasn't quite happened yet. So I disagree with the notion that we're overly negative on the Jazz. We're just talking about the state of the organization. So when yesterday happens, I'm like, hey, man, how do you have something as simple as white noise on an audio line? That's just a technical, you didn't get the job done.
That is a detail that was overlooked.
Like, that's not like, hey, you didn't spend millions of dollars or you chose to go a different direction. That's, with all due respect, as the saying goes on the show, that's just you missing. That's just you making a mistake. So that's why I say it's not us being negative. I just hold them to a higher standard. I would expect an audio line not to have white noise on it. Is that too much to ask?
I don't think it is. So I guess here's the question that I would ask you. Do you trust Ryan Smith to bring a championship to the Utah Jazz? Because I do. I think everything that you just said, Jake, is absolutely correct. Is this a learning curve that we're seeing? I hope so. I don't know, but I would hope so. I mean, I look at Ryan Smith as a guy who is clearly intelligent. This is a smart guy. I look at Ryan Smith as a guy who probably didn't know what he didn't know about buying an NBA team. So what did he do? He went out and found a guy who knew how to basketball, Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge is fully in control of the basketball direction of this team. But that's the best part of the team. The worst part of this Jazz organization is their business acumen. Things like white noise on your audio when you're streaming for 7 hours yesterday on Media Day is wholly and completely unacceptable. The idea that you did not do more with this jersey release is wholly and completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
The idea that you're delayed a year on your Purple Mountain uniform is completely unacceptable.
But then you thought it was okay to roll that out all day at Media Day and not roll out the highlighter yellow uniform.
But this goes back to my point. I look at the business acumen of this organization right now. Their TV deal is bad. Their radio deal is bad. Their jersey rollout is bad. They're not going to have a full building. They are, in my opinion, losing millions and millions and millions of dollars in merchandise alone. Why would I not be sitting here questioning the business acumen of this organization? I don't understand what they are doing. And Ryan Smith is a guy, and again, go back to the day he bought the team. I was ecstatic that Ryan Smith bought this team. He is the right guy. He's a Utahn. He's a BYU alum. He's a guy that you don't have to worry about moving the team.
Totally.
Like, his feet are cemented on the ground in the great state of Utah.
In multiple sports organizations.
Yes, and again, adding RSL, growing the MLS footprint, like I just think it's really important. But how do we continue to get a Jazz organization that continues to make missteps business-wise? How do we continue to get an organization that can't get white noise off of a feed on YouTube? We YouTube stream every day. Did we have audio issues? Yes. Did we fix them? Immediately. It's not difficult. How do you botch Media Day?
Yeah.
It's not difficult. How do you botch a jersey rollout that's worth tens of millions of dollars that your fans have shown you since you rolled that out? They've embraced it. They've absolutely embraced it. And you continue to botch it. How on earth was there not one player in a yellow jersey yesterday? It's a huge misstep, because what that says is, you know, those yellow jerseys are bad, because believe it or not, they've actually grown on me. Do I like them as much as the purple? No. The black? No. The white? Well, yeah, everybody likes everything more than those white jerseys. But they've actually grown on me. And I see fans wearing yellow, yet I don't see players or personnel wearing yellow. It's a huge business misstep. It's cost you millions of dollars now. And yet it seems like Ryan Smith and the business guys in the Jazz organization aren't learning from their mistakes.
Facts.
They're being penny wise and pound foolish. They're not spending money, and they're cutting off their nose simply to spite their face. When you can't live stream without an issue, that's not incompetence. Know-how's not the problem. Execution's the problem.
Yeah.
That's what we saw a lack of yesterday,
Yes.
and it continues a trend. You know how to do this right, but you're simply not. You know how to do radio right. You're simply not. You know how to do TV right. You're simply not. You know how to do video content creation 365. You simply are not.
Yeah.
You're making choices not to do things, and it plays into this thing of, well, why did you bring in a minority owner and a group, a conglomerate that is only in business to seed fund new franchises?
Yep.
Why did you do that? Well, that clearly wasn't to bring a cash influx in to the Jazz, because we haven't seen that. And by the way, behind the scenes, tens of millions of dollars are being dumped into the arena right now to get it ready for the All-Star game. Are you going to have an All-Star representing this team in that event? My guess is it's Colin Sexton. That'd be my guess.
Or JC if he's here.
It's going to be Colin Sexton. I think Jordan Clarkson, he's a maybe. If Colin Sexton's ready, and by all accounts he is, he's an all-star caliber player.
Yeah.
He's an all-star caliber player.
So the point is, that's what we're frustrated about.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're living here on the Monty Show, as we talk Utah Jazz basketball, presented by TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Anytime we're talking Jazz on this show, from here to 4, you know that it is presented by our good friends at TryDayTrading.com. Get off the hamster wheel when you're looking for that side hustle, friends. TryDayTrading.com/Monty presents Utah Jazz basketball on the Monty Show. Enough of us, more of you. Let's get your comments in here. Carlin Lefevre. Carlin, I think you're new to the show. Welcome, my friend. It was frustrating to see that they didn't do the media day wearing the new uniforms. They know they suck. Ooh.
Ow.
As a fan, I got to tell you, yeah, I would agree with you on that.
And I think it's so obvious because that's the message they send. And you know, I don't know if they know that or not. I mean, obviously it was intentional that none of the guys were wearing yellow uniforms. That much is very clear.
Intentional.
Very intentional. But do they understand that sends a clear message? Do they understand that people are going to notice that?
On. You have to.
But I think you have to ask that question. I'm not 100% confident that you know the ramifications.
You really think Ryan Smith doesn't recognize that?
I have to question it now.
Oh, man.
I have to question it. I'm not, again, and feel free in the comments, roast me if you want. I don't feel like it's out of the realm of possibility that they're missing that piece.
No way. You think that was just an oversight?
No. They understand. Here's what I don't think they understand. So they get that people don't like the yellow uniform. But what they don't understand is that by simply just not wearing the yellow uniform, they think that people are just going to, like, it's just, you know, people aren't going to recognize that, or they're not going to, you know, the fan base isn't going to realize that.
I think what you have to do, whether you like the yellow or not, if you're the Utah Jazz, no matter what fans think, you have to say, hey, these are the best uniforms in the NBA.
Yes.
Look at these great yellow uniforms. Look at these awful putrid practice jerseys that are the white uniforms we're going to wear. These things are amazing. They're the best white uniforms in the NBA.
Yeah.
You have to do that. Yeah, absolutely.
I
agree.
You have to just go full embrace mode.
I
know that sucks, but I think that's the price you pay when you do things like 3-day planning sessions on a jersey rollout and then it doesn't get executed the right way. Like, again, with all due respect, I'm not sitting here trying to hate on the organization, but this is what's presented to us, so this is what I have to work with. That's why I question it.
Yeah. Let's see. Black Lives Matter says, do Jazz fans think they aren't tanking? Because that's exactly what's going on. I think if you think this team's tanking, you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
Because they're not doing anything that would make you think they're tanking.
Yeah.
Because if they were tanking, they would not have a veteran on this roster. If they were tanking, they wouldn't have done the Don deal the way they did the Don deal. They would have done the Nick deal. The Nick deal is far more tanking. You took back Colin Sexton and Lauri Markkanen for Donovan Mitchell.
Why? Lauri Markkanen has no place on a tanking team.
Why would you do? And you haven't traded Mike Conley or Jordan Clarkson.
They're not tanking, bro.
And by the way, if you're tanking, do you give away Bojan Bogdanovic? Do you just simply for Kelly Olynyk? Do you just give him away if you're not trying to get draft picks? Because you're tanking, clearly you're saying they're trying to get, VW. If you're tanking, you're not doing those things. And if you're tanking, you do not. In my opinion, just my opinion, and you do not have your president of basketball operations, Danny Ainge, sit up on a dais and say, I'm too old for that.
Yeah.
Because he straight up sat up there and said, I'm too old for that. And if you listen to what he told Craig Bolerjack in that staged completely homerism interview, where he talked about 16 years of mediocrity, is this what guys who are tanking say?
The reality is we've had 16 years of, it's better than mediocrity for sure at times in the last 16 years, but at the same time, it really hasn't been championship caliber basketball. And 16 years without getting past the second round of the playoffs, I think is not what any of us want. And so the change is just, okay, here we are with veteran team, had been all in on this veteran team. I think Dennis Lindsey has done a fantastic job in this organization, as did Quinn Snyder. And but I just think we're starting over.
UtahJazz.com right there. Are you telling me that he's tanking?
Come on now.
Saying that stuff, you think he's tanking? Like I could be naive. I don't know. Whoa, comment dump. I apologize for that. Let's see. Riley O'Brien says, these are all facts. In years past, I loved Media Day. Yesterday was pathetic. You can't even hear the questions. Just a lazy effort, annoying as hell from the Jazz. Be better. Wow.
That's precisely what I'm saying.
Wow.
I mean, that was a little harsher than I've said it, but I am in lockstep with Riley. I mean, that was a little more blunt than I've been saying it, but that's pretty spot on, bro.
Just Us says messy like a 2-year-old with spaghetti. Exactly right.
Facts, dude.
Exactly right.
Come on, man.
That's incredible. Jacob DeLambo says, I like the black uniforms. I love the black uniforms.
And I think a lot of people like them, and that's why I'm saying, you just have to, from their side of the phone, as I like to say, if you're in the Jazz organization, just embrace the damn thing.
You have to.
Go for it.
Yeah, you have to. Let's see. Neville93. So we have all these owners. Where's Dwayne Wade and where's the other guys? Well, I think Dwayne Wade is a guy that, you see him around. Zaire
He's
plays.
He's a minority owner, first of all.
Yeah, Zaire plays on the G League team.
Yeah.
But he is a guy that is here, I think, to recruit. I don't think he's an actual operator. That's just me.
Yeah.
Kenai Johnson says, well, I see year 17, 18, and 19 of more mediocrity.
Yeah. I understand why you might feel that way. I can understand that.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Brent Burnett says, got to get playing games is kind of lame talking about Jersey. Boyan was a money-saving move as Jazz owners asset-rich and cash-poor. Boyan deal was a very good deal, in my opinion. I think it was a terrible deal. I think it was by far the worst deal of the summer. Yes, it got you under the apron. Yes, it means you're not paying the luxury tax. You gave him away.
Yeah.
And, they sent you Saban Lee and his money. They paid for Saban Lee, the Pistons did.
Yeah.
You traded Boyan Bogdanovic for Kelly Olynyk.
Too bad.
That's a kick in the balls. There's no other way to put that.
Yeah.
That
I'm
is
gonna say this again.
That is a terrible trade.
Yeah.
Danny won both of the big trades this summer. That was a terrible
he's won
trade.
all three of his trades before the Boyan trade. He won the Royce trade.
In fact, yeah.
He had a great run until that point.
I don't know. And listen, Brent, I think, maybe you're right at the end of the day. This is the one that worries you. This is a comment that worries you. That the Jazz are asset rich and cash poor. You're a tech billionaire.
How about that?
Are you telling me you don't have two nickels to rub together right now for the Jazz?
Does it not concern you, though? This is what I'm talking about. Precisely the conversation I'm talking about. So you've got all these assets, but you're not liquid. You're cash poor, which to me means, we can't afford to pay an audio guy to make sure there's not white noise on our line. We can't pay for media day staff to do, to get the Kawhi video. And except it's not Kawhi, it's whoever from our team. We can't afford to do these things because we're somehow cash poor, and I think that's very concerning. And again, I'm not sitting here saying for a fact that they are, but what I am saying is that for a fact you're kind of sending that message, hey, everything's been done kind of poorly from a business ops standpoint, and that's because we can't afford to pay staff. And so now it looks like, hey, we're getting ready for the All-Star game, and we're getting this big influx, and, the G League team moved buildings, and we're just kind of rolling through the offseason. That's kind of the message that you're sending. And again, I just want to be very clear about this. I'm not trying to be harsh on this organization, but the fact is Jazz fans deserve better. So you're not going to get a free pass from us when Media Day was what it was. That's a thing.
I'll just tell you the same story I've told on this show before.
Yeah.
That our sources at the Jazz came to us. We did not go, hey, Steve, anything happening inside the offices today? They came to us.
Yeah.
We've opened up a line of communication. We've built some relationships there. We were talking one day before the Rudy trade. I think it was before the Rudy trade. And this guy I talked to at the Jazz on a regular basis lost his ever-loving mind over a lack of execution on the jersey reveal.
It's internal.
And just because they were trying to plan what they were doing. And he went off about staff, money spent, infrastructure. Look at our, just absolutely losing his mind over their radio deal.
It's really despicable.
And how much the people that, run the Jazz dislike the radio deal.
It's ridiculous.
Dislike the radio station. And we can't do anything about it because we sold our rights. And it's ridiculous. Just going on and on and on.
It's ridiculous.
And then the jersey reveal happened. And the next time I talked to my guy, he said, we're embarrassed by it. We had... the Jazz, some internal employees at the Jazz had planned a whole thing where they wanted to have some legends, and there were all kinds of suggestions about how to do this.
Okay, so right there, that means there is a part of the team that has a lot of ideas and they want to do stuff.
And they wanted to pay homage to Mark Eaton and it just like all these different things that they wanted to do.
Okay, so more up the alley of what you would expect.
Completely ignored. Completely ignored. And they hired a firm who put together this thing.
The Jordan Clarkson shoot.
And that was all they did. And they didn't do it live. They didn't do a live event. They didn't do it at the arena. They didn't include employees.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I thought was interesting is none of the employees got free swag. None of them got like the hookup on jerseys.
You see what I'm saying?
And there is a palatable frustration about when the TV deal was released.
Yeah.
That they weren't going to have a new TV deal. There was a debate inside the Jazzes. It was explained to me that they all knew that they've known for months that they were not going to be able to get a new TV deal done. They knew for months.
Right.
What they wanted to do internally at the Jazz was to create kind of like a TV channel inside the Jazz where they created content and they did the, you know, hey, let's do X, Y, and Z. Like, let's do all this cool content without, you know, spilling the beans on what the content was.
Right, of course.
They had all these great ideas. And because there is, whether you know this as Jazz fans or not, and all of our Jazz talk here on the show is brought to you by Tri-Day Trading, tridaytrading.com/Monty. Behind the scenes at the Jazz, there is a whole department that is in charge of the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
Building infrastructure, marketing, events, restaurants, hotel accommodation, like all this stuff. They all wanted to do super cool stuff around content creation for the All-Star game. Turned down. Could not do it. Raphael had his baby. How about that? We have a new mentor. We got a new member of the Monty Show. Oh, Talking with Raphael podcast. Congratulations. That is beautiful. People won't be able to see it.
Here. Let me.
You can actually see that.
You can see it.
There you go. Wearing a Utah hat. That's beautiful. Anyway,
job,
my
dude.
point is back to the story.
Yeah, sorry.
So they're planning all this content for the All-Star game. They were dismissed. They were just like written off. And they're like, okay, well, we have training camp coming. We have this trade. Like they wanted to do a thing where they're behind the scenes on these trades, dismissed. Like Jazz employees are frustrated.
Yes.
Because they don't have their own video department full time. They don't have infrastructure of video or audio, as we found out yesterday, full time.
Yeah.
So there is this frustration that's going on. Even my dog is pissed off about it.
Facts.
Like there's this frustration going on with the Jazz behind the scenes because they're being penny wise and pound foolish. And things like yesterday at Media Day, this is where those things are manifested.
Look here, man.
And it's gnarly, dude. It's rough. Riley O'Brien says, let's go, Raphael. Hell yeah, Raphael. Way to go, buddy. New member of the Monty Show clan. Let's see. Jesse Harsh says, just put the games back on Channel 11. K-Jazz like the old days.
Agreed.
Brandon Butler says, if the rebuild goes well, a bunch of teams are going to blow things up in the next couple of seasons. I agree with that. Absolutely. Teddy Wayman says, I agree with Jake. We do deserve better, and you deserve a better class of contractor. And we're going to give it to you with Wayman Brothers Construction because I can only tell you that, what?
You're welcome.
Wayman Brothers Construction, 801-654-1028. Again, this project that we're doing with Wayman Brothers is unbelievable.
Final stages, baby.
First of all, it's been flawless. It's been absolutely flawless. The communication has been absolutely flawless. Alma Wayman, who owns Wayman Brothers Construction, it's a family business. He calls me directly. He's like, hey, here's where we're at. This is what we're doing. Hey, we need to schedule this. Like yesterday, he's like, hey, because we're in the home stretch of this project, right? And he's like, hey, we need to kind of line these next steps out so that we're all in the Gesundheit.
Thank you.
We're all on the same page.
Because it's all part of the plan.
You're getting this high-level communication. The end product, wait until you see the end product of
It's going to be truly incredible. Like
it's amazing.
Yeah.
So the end product is good. The communication's good. The execution's good. It's been absolutely flawless. They can do what they're doing for us in your kitchen, in your bathroom. Do you need a whole home reno? They can do that.
Yes.
Is it time to make sure that your basement is finished this winter instead of another cold, damp, musty basement for the winter? Isn't it time you finished your basement? Wayman Brothers Construction could do that. My guy, Teddy Wayman, has got to come and fix the tile in my shower at some point.
Yep.
You can have them do a little job, a big job. They do tenant improvements. So, hey,
let me tell you what.
Are you opening a business? Wayman Brothers Construction. Are you building a bathroom? Wayman Brothers Construction.
And by the way, they're on time. They are there when they say they are going to be there.
Yeah.
They are not like an hour late wasting your time.
Our guy Josh yesterday said, "Hey, I'll be here at 11. I need to do X, Y, and Z. Meet you there at 11. Done. 10:59 walks in the door. Like, you just can't beat that level of execution. And that's why I love Wayman Brothers Construction. I trust them implicitly. I know that when I tell Elmo Wayman, hey, I want it this way and I want it to look this way.
Yeah.
Can you do that? And he's like, yeah, hey, XYZ, don't worry about it. We got it.
I want it.
They do the job. You come back and guess what? It's better than what you thought it would be. That's why you go to Wayman Brothers Construction. 801-654-1028, Wayman Brothers Construction. Right here on the Monty Show. Tell him you heard it from Monty. Couple of things going on. Let's see. Jesse Harsh says Monty smooth transitions into a Joker impression.
Yeah, man, you know.
And I'm going to give it to him.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesse. Pistons offered something better than a pick. Cash in millions of it. Way better deal. Plus KO and get a pick off the back end of a trade. Well, listen. I think the issue with the Pistons trade is not that it was the Pistons. The issue with the Piston trade is that you gave away an asset for far less than its market value. That was the issue. The Jazz and the Lakers had a deal in place, and the Lakers wanted the Jazz to take on additional salary. The Jazz were not going to do that. And I totally understand that.
Right. Yeah.
But you gave him away for Kelly Olynyk. You wouldn't have taken a first-round pick for Bojan Bogdanovic? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
That
I mean, he was you can mark it down first round pick for Bogey. I mean, that just was assumed.
You know, I want things. I want transparency, and you're never going to get full transparency from a professional sports team. It's not happening. But on some level,
yeah,
when you get the Lakers saying, hey, yeah, you know, the only bar is championships, and we get Kevin Durant saying, yeah, you know what, I missed 10 games last year, and I saw things I didn't like. I don't trust Steve Nash. I asked to be traded. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The transparency you're getting around the NBA on Media Day, and you don't get that from the Jazz, and it's disappointing. Josh Leal says, I no longer listen. I think you mean Woj. I no longer listen to Woj. I like you guys are honest about the Jazz, not at all sugarcoated. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you, man. I appreciate that a big deal. Mark Rasmussen says, you give up 18 points a game for nothing. I'd rather hold on to him and come on. They got rid of Conley. Yeah, I mean, you got to get rid of Conley. I agree. I think that's what you're saying there. I totally agree with that. I think that's an excellent point. And I see somebody asking, hey, why aren't you reading our Well, I'm trying. We get a lot of comments on the show.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that. We get a ton of comments every day, and it's awesome that you guys are here. And thank you for doing that, because without you guys, we couldn't do it. Alex Chacon, good morning. For what everyone is saying about it, the Jazz wouldn't have had to give up Vando if they wanted a first. They would not have had to. They could have kept him.
They would not have had to give up Vando.
It's head-scratching. It is. I wonder what Danny had in mind there.
Yeah. Well, and
why didn't we ask him at me? Oh, wait.
Oh, that's right.
We tried.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. I mean, we can beat a dead horse. I still go back to some of the other things we heard at Media Day. Like, I want to play this Lakers sound, because one of the things that I think is really important is that you operate as though you're the best in the business. I think that is a big, big point.
Yeah.
That you have to, if you are the Utah Jazz, you have to operate like you're the best team in the NBA. That gold jersey is the best gold jersey. It's not yellow. That gold jersey is the best gold jersey in the NBA. Right?
Yeah.
Listen to what LeBron James says right here about winning championships.
Injuries, unfortunate circumstances. Right. Are you motivated to get back to that spot?
Absolutely. You know, there's definitely a chip on my shoulder, a chip on our shoulder. And, you know, just wearing this uniform is unacceptable. It's just unacceptable not to be able to compete for a championship. And I know that's long term, and that's something that we're not going to talk much about. But listen, I could look right up there and it speaks for itself.
There they are.
You know, and I happen to be a part of one of those trophies up there. So, but it's about putting the work in. You know, every single day, you know, we want to come in with our hard hats on and put the work in. And if we can do that, then we'll put ourselves in a position to be able to compete, you know, every single night at a championship level.
Now, one of the other things I want you to notice there is they're doing that on their channel. They are doing that on their basketball floor at their practice facility. And notice what it said at the end there. Laker Media Day presented by Carl's Jr. So they're making money on it. They're asking real questions. They're giving us the guys that guys want to hear from.
Yeah.
And they're making money doing it. What did the Jazz make money on yesterday? What did it's
whether you're cash strapped or not, you should be making money on it.
Unthinkable to me.
Yeah.
That happened. And again, you know, I don't know how you explain it. And by the way, I'm terrified of the Lakers. You hear LeBron yesterday, you listen to Anthony Davis, and
they seem locked in. They seem in a good place, but you know what everyone's going to say. Can he stay healthy? Not LeBron, Anthony Davis. Can Anthony Davis stay healthy? That's what everyone's going to say.
Listen,
and I think we have to keep asking that question until dude shows he can play 70 games a year.
I think he can. I think he can. And by the way, Anthony Davis has lost 40 pounds and put on muscle. I think that's scary. But if you look at the Lakers cap, obviously LeBron's making a boatload of money.
So
Russ is making 47. LeBron's making 44. AD's making 37.
Yeah.
Pat Bev is making 13. And then Lonnie Walker, Kendrick Nunn, Damian Jones, Ryan Gabriel, Dennis Schroeder, Thomas Bryant. Their issues are depth. But looking at Juan Toscano-Anderson yesterday running around having fun at Media Day.
It's great to see.
It's great to see. So I think the Lakers, if they make another trade, they're a legitimate championship contender.
Yeah.
I think if they add Malik Beasley, if they add other guys, I think they're a championship contender. I look at this Western Conference, and one of the other things I want to play here on Media Day, look how much fun the Clippers had at Media Day yesterday.
Hey, Claude.
Oh, some New Balances for sure. You got to spread out your collection a little bit. They Kobe's though, so you good.
I love, and I'm going to play it again because I want you to hear this when he says, "Oh, they Kobe's, so we good." Everybody laughs, and then listen to the Hall of Fame laugh from Kawhi Leonard. It's the last 3 seconds of this.
Hey, Claude.
Oh, some New Balances for sure. You got to spread out your collection a little bit. They Kobe's though, so you good.
It's classic.
His laugh is amazing. And it just makes no sense to me why he's just bizarre. And then John Wall calling him Claw.
Hey, Claw.
And by the way, here's perhaps the best video of Kawhi Leonard yesterday.
What's up, Clipper Nation? We here day one, Media Day. Let's get this over with and fly to Vegas.
Now, I want you to understand that's a full-size adult microphone in his hand. Because it's a joke.
He's
Hey, Claw.
He's got claws for hands.
What's up, Clipper Nation? We here day one, Media Day. Let's get this over with and fly to Vegas.
Let's get this over. Did you see? Because there's a small mic. And okay, the Monty Show. All right. Awkward. But that's what I love. I love that they're having fun. I like that they're doing funny things. I like that Kawhi can laugh at himself. I like that John Wall calls him Claw.
Yeah.
Like there's fun stuff. And hey, Claw. By the way, how good are the Clippers?
Hey, Claw.
Very good.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. I think John Wall is going to live up to it. I'm very excited about him.
You want to talk about a guy that needs to stay healthy. Man,
yes.
I'm looking at their cap. Paul George, 42. Kawhi, 42. Norman Powell, all the way down at 17 is third. So it's PG, Kawhi, or excuse me, Claw.
Yeah, thank you.
You know.
Hey, Claw.
Norman Powell, Marcus Morris, Luke Kennard, Rocco's coming on a jab.
Rocco.
How'd that work out?
Yeah.
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie.
Who I thought yesterday was hysterical.
Hey, look here, man.
Jumping into a video shoot with Paul George.
Wearing these amazing sunglasses.
Was awesome. Nick Batum.
If
he's a Zubats. Johnny Wall. And then Terrence Mann,
Jazz fans don't know who
deep.
Terrence Mann is, do they?
They're deep. They are, I'm telling you, they are deep. And the one team I'm curious about, the Denver Nuggets. Everybody every year writes off the Denver Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
And if Michael Porter Jr. is healthy, because I think we know Jamal Murray. I think we know Dad Bod God.
We're only here for one reason.
Right.
Nikola, Colt and stuff. What is Michael Porter Jr.? Like, he got that massive contract, really hasn't played. He's got this back thing. He's the one I'm worried about because I think he's the far more impactful player for the Nuggets than Jamal Murray.
Yeah, I mean, if he's hitting, they're tough to beat. I mean, they're really, really tough to beat. At the back, though, has just been really sensitive for him in his career.
Who do you worry about in the West? As somebody that...
worry about as in, like, who's going to be really good? Or
yeah, because you lap up the saliva of Steph Curry.
You want
to? I mean, well, you do and stuff.
Right.
Like, who do you worry about in the West? Who's the big... Because I don't think it's Phoenix. I thought, by the way, that was awkward yesterday.
I was going to say Phoenix is the one I worry about from a not living up to it perspective.
Oh, I agree with that.
They're awkward. The DeAndre Ayton energy is not good.
No, the Jay Crowder is away from the team and will not play for the Suns again.
But Jay Crowder, he helped them, but it's not like Jay Crowder is Devin Booker or Chris Paul or DeAndre
No, but
Ayton.
he's absolutely a vital piece of that Suns puzzle.
Yeah, he's a tough guy, and he plays a role, no doubt about it.
How many big shots did he hit for them the last 2 years?
Yeah.
He hit a lot of really important shots for
they're
them.
not going. But here's the thing: they're not going to lose sleep over Jay Crowder. Yes, he's a key contributor off the bench. He was a big part of what they did. But I'm telling you that this team is changing, and with everything going on with the Sarver situation, to media day being kind of awkward, I just think the Suns are not. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe they come together and maybe it's just some amazing season again, but I just feel like this is not the year for them.
The thing that worries me is if you're a Suns fan, as we talk NBA hoops on the Monty Show presented by TryDayTrading.com/Monty, I think the thing that worries you is that if you're a Suns fan anyway, you're going to have Landry Shamet play some really significant minutes now. Yeah. And that, to me, that's terrifying. And look, you know what you're getting out of Book, Ayton, Paul, Bridges.
Yeah, they're pretty reliable.
Yeah, you know what you're getting out of those guys. The question is, I look at Dario Saric as a guy you're going to have to count on. Landry Shamet's a guy you're going to have to count on. What is Cam Johnson?
I don't know. Is
Cameron Payne a guy that comes back and has a better year? Because he had a trashy year last year, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, you need a lot of guys to outperform their career numbers if the Suns are going to contend for a championship. And I also look at the Golden State Warriors, and my biggest concern with your Warriors.
Right. My Warriors.
Your Golden State Warriors.
Right.
People are misinterpreting what I'm saying.
Yeah, the thing you worry about with the Warriors is age. There's a lot of miles on those tires. I mean, I think Steph and Clay, obviously Clay's missed a lot of time, and he's getting back to his full self. But, you look at Steph and, you feel like he's learned how to navigate the injury waters.
Yes.
But if you look at a guy like Draymond Green, I look at Kevon Looney, you look at those guys, like those are critical performers for them.
Yes.
And you get into the Wisemans, the Kumingas.
Jordan Poole.
Who's still on that team. He's still on that team.
They are going to pay him.
I really like the JaMychal Green pickup for them.
Yep.
I think that's significant.
But the Warriors are a perfect example of a team that understands how to monetize and make a ton of extra money, behind the scenes. I mean, that's what allows them to afford all these contracts. I mean, you've done winning. You went to the NBA Finals, which is hundreds of millions of dollars to an organization.
Yeah.
In terms of influxing cash. So, they're in a great spot. They can afford to do this right now.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get some of your comments in here. San Diego State has to... He says, you bow your heads when you say the word Kawhi.
Hey, Claw.
San Diego State, man, I love you, dude. You make me laugh every day. Jake Sperling says Joshua Mose, their kids, most of them haven't done this before. Could be. Brent Burnett says John Wall is fragile. He hasn't played.
Agreed.
He is fragile. There's no doubt about that, but he hasn't played. Hey, look, Ruff's official. Notice they fanboy over the Lakers and Clippers. We fanboy over the Lakers and Clippers. Is that right? But hate on the Jazz. They should change the name to the Haters Show. Well, I'm not a
really
Laker
good.
or Clipper fan.
Here's the thing. It's Ruffs, you're really good at your job, but it's really unfortunate. You're not going to qualify for executive producer of the show. So, unfortunately, the name's not going to change.
No.
Sorry to break
buddy.
that news to you.
I don't know that we're fanboying over the Lakers and Clippers.
The fact is, you can run from the truth if you want to. The fact is the Jazz operate like a low-level organization.
Yeah,
that's
I would
just
agree
what
with
they
that.
do. And the truth is, if you want to go and get sugar-coated talk, if you want to go and get the nice guy on the Jazz talk, turn on the radio in this town. Read the newspaper in this town. That's what you can do. But you're not going to get that here, mainly because it's not the truth.
It's not what we do.
If you don't like the truth, I get it. You don't have to like it, but at least be okay with talking about something that is, in fact, true.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not the sugarcoaters. Let's see. San Diego State says defensively the Suns do lose sleep over losing Crowder on defense. Go Suns, yeah.
I mean, I think that's true.
Well,
but I
look
also,
at Alex Chacon. Crowder is the 3-and-D wing, exactly what every contender needs. I think that's the truth.
Where was Crowder when Luka was lighting them up for 50? Where was Crowder?
Out of gas. I think that entire team was out of gas. I mean, there's just no doubt about that.
And here's the other truth. And not that I'm saying you guys are wrong about the fact that he's what every contender wants. The fact is they weren't good enough to win a championship. Like, we need to be in lockstep with that. You had a team that was good enough to get to the finals, but not a team that was whatever. If you want to say they're tired, if they just didn't live up to it, whatever the label you want to put on it is, they didn't get it done. And that's why I'm saying, you got to have another guy. You need something more.
Yep, totally agree. I think when you need something more out of your real estate transactions, you call it Devery Davis at Academy Mortgage.
No, please continue. I'm awing in your greatness.
801-543-9666. NMLS number 278545 for Devery Davis at Academy Mortgage. And I can only say it so many times that Devery's written 3 mortgages for Mrs. Monty and me, and he's been great to deal with. He is somebody that's helped our listeners. Everybody always says, hey, when I call Devery, I get that great personal service. He's a nice guy. I like talking to him. Devery is a good dude. When you call the mortgage guy off the TV, make sure you call my 800 number right now and talk to somebody who's never going to talk to you again, and we're going to make a bunch of money off your crappy mortgage. Don't do that. Call Devery Davis, get personal service, get into the right mortgage product for you, because not every mortgage is created equal. And by the way, the number one thing we hear is, hey, man, I would love to call your guy Devery Davis, but I can't afford a down payment. Absolutely, you can afford a down payment when you call Devery Davis.
You're listening to The Monty Show, my favorite peeps. I'm Devery Davis with the Davis Lending Team, powered by Academy Mortgage. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, you don't know what you're doing, you bought multiple homes, second homes, investment properties, multifamily, we've got you covered. Our office consists of everybody it takes to do your loan, from processing to underwriting to doc departments. We do it all right here. We're not waiting on Tucumcari Carrier or Walla Walla, Washington to answer an email. We take care of it here. The housing market's changed. Prices are dropping. It's the greatest time to buy a house. There's no such thing as a dumb question. If you have any questions, you give me a shout. I'll walk you through it. Have a great day. Tell my money guys I said what's up.
What's up? Devery Davis at Academy Mortgage, the Davis Lending Team. 801-543-9666. NMLS number 278545. Devery Davis, the Davis Lending Team, and Academy Mortgage are equal housing lenders. Call him today. Devery is such a good dude. Talking Utah Jazz basketball right now, and just looking at West contenders. Let's see. Stéphane Perma says hello from France.
What's up, buddy?
Parlez-vous français? No, stop. That's
disrespectful.
Tell Rudy we said hello.
Yeah.
Brian Clegg said, dude, Monty is in fuego today.
That's what I'm saying.
Appreciate that. San Diego State says, hello. COVID running through the team played a part. Truth. Eric says, how are the Twin Towers in Minnesota going to do in the East, Jake? Every day. Every day. Alex Chacon says, my man, no one can guard Luka. That's unfair.
But let's stop characterizing the guy as the saving grace of the Suns or the one guy that's going to put him over the top, or they're like desperate to have him. He can take his ass and his bad attitude off to another team. Because to me, you've been unprofessional with how you've handled it. All the Twitter stuff, all the running your mouth. Like, okay, great. We get it. You wanted to stay with the Suns. That's not going to happen. That's the business of the NBA. I don't know what else to say to Jay Crowder. You are not a superstar. You are not some guy that can just say whatever the hell he wants, in the parlance of business.
I don't disagree with that. By the way, if you didn't hear the story, Jay Crowder and the Suns have agreed he will not report. He will stay away from the team. This is all a rift over him starting. He was told by Monty Williams, the head coach of the Phoenix Suns, that, hey, Jay Crowder, you're not a starter anymore. And he said, I want to be traded then. And they said, okay, stay away from the team. So they're going to try and trade him. Fat Jesus says, can I be the executive producer of the show? I have lots of ideas.
Well,
I don't know. Tanner Plummer is currently the executive producer of the show.
Yeah, but he didn't show up for the show and hasn't been showing up. So, I mean,
Josh Leal says, I listen to David Locke if you like that sweet talk.
Exactly.
Joshua Mose says, Monty on the hustle between Tri-Day trading and all the ad drops. He's getting the bag. I don't know about all that. Jesse Harsh says, Crowder is a good role player with a lot of hustle. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. JP says, Utah media joke. Monty and Jake, please get access and ask the hard questions. Yeah, that's such a slippery slope. And it's when you want to know what's going on, and especially, here in football, you tune into the Monty Show at 10 of the hour every hour when it's football at 50. Presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza. Papa Murphy's Pizza. Download the app. Use the promo code Monty25, Monty25 for 25% off your order of $25 or more at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Brant Keithy out for the year. Jake, just your initial reactions to that. When you hear that Brant Keithy's out for the year, I mean, now what? Is the season over? What are your initial thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think for Utah, you're going to have to figure out that solution. That's what I think everyone's concerned about, and I think that, if I'm Brant Keithy, I don't come back. Witt kind of talked about, hey, still got some eligibility or whatever. If I'm Brant Keithy, I don't come back, but I think for the program itself, you have to find, an alternative now. You're going to have to get some of these other names stepping up. And so to me, if I'm Kyle Whittingham, that's where my focus shifts. I need to develop these guys now.
Well, speaking of Kyle Whittingham, let's hear from the head coach of the Utes talking about his injured tight end.
The big downer from the game was Brant Keithy. He's lost for the season, and that's a big blow to our offense. He was a huge part of what we do offensively, but we'll have to have guys step up and pick up the slack. It means an opportunity for Thomas Yasmin, Munir McLean, Landon Kendall or Logan Kendall, and so they've got to pick it up, and we'll miss him. And he's a great leader, great person. It breaks your heart to see something like that happen to a senior. Silver lining, if there is one, he's inside the 5 games. You get 4 games to redshirt. He did have a redshirt year, so if he chooses and wants the opportunity to come back next season, that's available to him.
Well, there you go, Kyle Whittingham, the head coach of your Utah Utes. I don't know what you do here, Jake. I think when you look at Brant, I don't think you come back. I really don't. I think it's all well and good and it's all cool and neat, but I just don't see, if you're Brant Keithy, I think it's time to move on. You got to go to the NFL here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just got to stop messing around. I mean, from a football perspective and a modern medicine perspective, tearing an ACL or really just a knee ligament overall has become less of a big deal because of modern medicine. So to me, he's going to recover from this. He'll be fine. but it's time to start making that bread because you don't live forever, and frankly, knee injuries, you don't want to have like 2 or 3 of those and not have made your money.
No, and it's just unfortunate. It absolutely cost him a lot of money. This drop did not cost CeeDee Lamb any money, which is amazing because I don't know how much blame Mike McCarthy can take in a season. He's taken a lot, and it's stuff like this where CeeDee Lamb just straight up drops a touchdown pass from Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
And people automatically get on Twitter and they're calling for Mike McCarthy to get fired. And
yeah,
Mike McCarthy is not blameless in Dallas. They get a big win last night. They're in position in the NFC East. How much blame does Mike McCarthy deserve for the struggles of the Dallas Cowboys?
I mean, I don't think he's the head coach, so there's an inherent amount of blame that he's going to get one way or the other, whether he likes it or not. But you can't, a coach can't prevent Lamb from dropping a football or Dak getting hurt or Zeke just not being the guy that he used to be. I mean, that's just what it is. And I think that, you can blame Mike McCarthy for clock management, offensive schematics on some level, even though he doesn't play, call the offensive plays for his team. So that's why I say it's hard for me because I think it's probably like a 50-50 thing. Like half of it is his fault because he's the head coach, but the other half is dudes just doing their job. Catch a football, like make a play. That's on them, not the coach.
Well, and they're one of the worst offenses in the NFC. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, that defense last night showed you exactly why Dan Quinn is a DC and not a head coach.
Yeah.
But that offense is the problem, and I think now they have a quarterback problem on their hands because you're going to play Dak Prescott when he gets back, and he is trying to throw a football this week already. We'll see. Cooper Rush has done more than a serviceable job filling in for him.
Yes.
I think that Cooper Rush is going to be that guy who probably gets paid off of a fill-in stint. But Dak Prescott's a starting quarterback. They probably ought to have a quarterback competition there.
I guess. My problem is that Dak's getting paid super money. Like, Dak's getting paid really, really big money, and I think that you got to play him. I mean, I just think you do. Cooper Rush has been good, but Dak's the guy.
And then there's this hurricane situation in Florida, and I mean, this is crazy. Tampa is moving to Miami. As you look at this storm, Miami right there is in the storm surge. You see there in the middle of the screen. The eye of the storm is scheduled to go up the Florida Gulf Coast and just absolutely wreak havoc on Tampa. So if you're listening to this show in Florida, please be cool. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to leave Tampa and go down to Florida because Miami plays Thursday night. Miami is on the road, so the Bucs are going to use the Miami Dolphins facility.
Yeah.
Tampa, the organization, is going to take all of the Bucs and their families to Miami to ride out the storm while the Bucs get ready to play at the Miami Dolphins facility. And I think there's a real good chance that this Tampa game this week gets moved from Raymond James down to Hard Rock Stadium. But man, you can lobby me all you want. There is not a chance that I'm moving to Florida. That is just a crazy climate down there. And that's not even like all the crazy stuff that happens. That's just the weather.
Right.
I mean, earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, like, dude, that's terrifying.
Yes, man. Like your
your
stuff is getting destroyed. And I know we have some listeners who are down there. Like, I don't know, man. If that was that level of hurricane coming towards my house, I'd be gone, man. I have to say, like, to me, it's too dangerous.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the Bucs wind up this week. And
yeah,
I don't know. Alex Chacon says the whole Cowboys organization is cheeks. Well, until good old Jerry Jones gets out of there, I don't know that they win.
Agreed.
Honestly, CeeDee Lamb dropped that pass with a smile. What a joke, Boyd Lake says.
Yes, agreed.
Talking with Raphael podcast, who brought in a new member of the Monty
The
Clan
Monty
today.
Clan.
Yeah, talking with Raphael. Congratulations, my friend. My Giants been 2-1, are looking better than the last 2 seasons. Well, I can tell you, Daniel Jones took an ass whooping last night. He got hit over 20 times. The quarterback of the New York Giants got hit over 20 times in that game. Jesse Harsh says the problem with Dallas, 2 words, Jerry Jones.
Facts.
I agree with that, without a doubt. I think it is. I don't know what you do if you look at some of the franchises right now that are struggling.
Yes.
The Dallas Cowboys should be better. The Giants should be better. And I think Dayball, I think they're moving in the right direction.
Right.
The Washington Commanders, they're not going to win for a long time.
Right.
I look at the Jets, the Bears.
The Raiders. 0-3.
And Mark Davis is pissed.
Yeah, he should be.
About what's good. I mean, Josh McDaniels is not getting fired after one season. But, I mean, there's just a lot of teams.
You can't be 0-3 after you brought in Devontae, man. That doesn't work.
I mean, I don't know.
You can't do that.
Should they win more than they've won?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, you have to be better. You just do.
Football 50 presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza.
No one goes all in on made-from-scratch freshness like Papa Murphy's. We go all in on quality. All in on craft. And on the Triple Pep Pizza, we go all in on pepperoni. Because when you go all in, people notice. Go all in with a limited-time Triple Pep Pizza, topped with 3 types of pepperoni for just $11.99. Papa Murphy's. Change the way you pizza.
Indeed, change the way you pizza by using the promo code Monty25, MONTY. Monty25 gets you 25% off your purchase of $25 or more at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Order online, papamurphyspizza.com, or better yet, download the Papa Murphy's app. It makes your life so much easier. Football 50 presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza. The Monty Show presented by the Advocates, Utah. Advocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business are the Advocates. They have supported this show. I say every day that we work with small local businesses, guys like Papa Murphy's Pizza, guys like Alma Wayman at Wayman Brothers, Barbecue Pit Stop, and certainly the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. I've known Matt Driggs for over 10 years. Supported us when we were a 1320K fan. The sports leader. Always appreciate the Advocates. They're supporting our show now. Listen, if you've been in a car accident, a motorcycle wreck, if you got hurt at work, if you tripped and fell on a broken sidewalk, all of those things, those are not your fault. You didn't deserve to get into an accident. You do deserve an advocate. That's why you get to UtahAdvocates.com. Free consultations. They're just the best at what they do.
Yes.
And you know that you can count on them. They know the law. They know the courts in Utah. Get to UtahAdvocates.com today. Free consultation. You can chat with them online. If you're not comfortable, getting on a phone call, go to the Utah Advocates website, UtahAdvocates.com. Chat with them online. Free consultation. No big retainers. You don't pay the advocates until they win your case. They're that confident. They're that good at what they do. You don't pay the advocates until they win your case at UtahAdvocates.com. A lot of NBA talk this morning. It's kind of good. It feels good to be talking NBA again.
Feels good to have a lot of sports to talk about instead of a little.
Yeah, and there's a lot going on. Obviously, the big news at BYU, and we'll talk a lot of BYU over the next 2 days as we get you ready for
tomorrow's preview day.
Tomorrow's preview day.
Game's Thursday.
So. Yep. And don't forget, Harris LaChance joins the show tomorrow, also presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza.
Yep.
We'll talk to Harris about getting Gunnar Romney back, and obviously the situation with Puka Nacua, the running game.
Got to talk about the running game and Miles Davis.
I mean, there's just a lot to talk about. Harris LaChance tomorrow morning, 8:30, right here on the Monty Show, presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza. So a lot of football over the next 2 days as we get you ready for BYU and Utah State. But certainly the situation with the Jazz is one that's interesting, and I don't know. I don't know. How many games do you feel like this team wins? And I think that's such a difficult question to answer.
It is, because I think that, you don't know what you have in Will Hardy yet. I mean, on some level you do, but I mean with this group and how all this is kind of going to come together, you don't know. I mean, is this going to be a really disciplined team and they're just going to get beat by better teams? Is this going to be a team that is not super disciplined and really just is kind of frenetic and plays up and down and, hey, we'll do the best we can type thing? Like, that's what I mean. We don't know quite what we're going to get yet out of the starting five. And I think a lot of people are like, hey, who is going to be the starting five? I don't know either. I know, the Conleys, the Sextons, the Malik Beasleys maybe. Obviously, I would expect Vanderbilt to start. Like, you have guys that you would expect to start. But again, that's what I mean. It remains to be seen, how this team is going to feel. Can I count on Beasley in the corner for 4 threes a night? Can I count on Vanderbilt for 15 to 20 a night? Like, what who is going to be the guy? That's what we need to figure out, because I don't buy that it's Colin Sexton right out of the gate. I think he can be the guy, but I think he's got to earn that stripe in this organization.
Yeah, I think picking a number of wins is very difficult. I mean, I think the over-under's 25 games.
Right. Which feels appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, if you won 30, 30 games would be, with this roster. Now, if you go making trades or what have you, okay, that's a different conversation.
And how competitive are they? Are they pushing teams to the brink in the fourth and they lose a lot of close games? Are they a team that is getting shellacked by 15 a night? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of team are you?
Shellacked.
Yeah, shellacked.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess we find out Sunday. Ken Williams says Jazz win 40 games. Oh, man, dude. I don't know how this team wins 40 games. I mean, maybe I'm being too negative about it. I don't know. I just don't see how you win 40 games.
Yeah, that's heavy.
I mean, that's a lot.
I think you, if Donnie was still here, I'd tell you, yeah, 40. But
I mean, how many teams won 50 games last year?
Yeah.
A handful? Like, I just think
and
that's...
being in the West is just an ass kicker, dude.
It is. And their schedule's not difficult, but I look at some of the things that you're starting to see out of teams. And, I look at the standings from last year, and in the West, you had 3 teams win 50 games. Dallas,
Right.
Golden State, Memphis. Phoenix won 64. But, I mean, there's not a lot of teams that win 40 games. You look at the worst teams, Houston, OKC, they won 20 and 24 games. You got Portland winning.
What is the play-in teams? What are the play-in teams winning?
Play-in teams are winning 34, 42, 36, and 46.
So 30s, for the most part, 30s.
I think you're a 25-win team. I mean, you're like Portland last year, I feel like. That's a pretty good comparison.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what level of compete is there. Colin Sexton's a hell of a player.
Let me pose this question. What is your patience level for this team? I mean, are you... what needs to take place for you guys and gals in the comments section to be okay with 25 wins? Does it just need to be exciting? Does it just need to be compelling?
I don't know.
Or is there nothing? Is it just unacceptable to be a 25-win team? That's what I'm curious about.
Greg Hawkins says, sup, y'all. What's up, Greg? Eric and Raleigh says 25 wins for the Jazz. Alex says, I don't think we bought Colin here to win games. We bought him here to have somewhat of an excited selling point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody on this team or in this organization is out to lose as many games as they can. That's just not the feeling I get.
Yeah, I don't think that's the goal, certainly.
Yeah. Ken says, Jake, I think you're wrong. Sexton is the best player on this roster.
Well, I didn't say he wasn't the best player on the roster. More what I was saying is he's going to have to earn that reputation. He's going to have to earn his stripes to be that guy. Like,
I would agree with that.
Talent-wise, you may be the best player, and I agree, I do think he is the best player talent-wise, but I think from a reputation, from a leadership, from a team dynamic perspective, he's got to earn that. He's got to come out and command the team, and that's what will be interesting to see.
Yep, we'll see. Brett Burnett says, not hard to fathom NBA teams winning 40 games. It happens all the time. Not with the roster construction this team has.
And not with the West as deep as it is, dude.
Yeah, I just don't see that the Lakers are going to be better. The Clippers are going to be better. I think Phoenix is probably on the way down, but what is Memphis?
Memphis is still really good.
I think Memphis is good. Golden State's good. Dallas is good. Dallas is going to be better, I would think.
Houston is going to be better than they were.
I think Minnesota is going to be a 50-win team.
Man, that Rudy Cat thing is going to be really, really interesting.
What about New Orleans?
Yeah, they're a good team too, man.
I mean, when Zion plays, they're a completely different team.
And again, so you see what I mean? And this is kind of what I was saying, Ken, about the Sexton thing. You have a lot of these teams. You got to see how John Wall fits in with the Clippers and how that kind of comes together. You got to see what the dynamic in Phoenix is. Like, obviously, same names, but a lot of drama in that organization in the offseason, as we were just talking about. Like, New Orleans with Zion and CJ and Brandon Ingram. So that's what I mean. There's a lot at play here. It's not just, well, look at a piece of paper. Yeah, they're a 25-win team. Like, they could be, like, if they played good team basketball, you could push 30, I think. I definitely think that's a possibility, but you're going to have to run good offense. It can't just be a mess. Like, it's got to be organized.
Brent Burnett says, how many games will the Wolves win? 50-plus.
I don't know, man.
That's a 50-plus team.
I think the Rudy thing is very overrated. Just my opinion, though.
I mean, he solves a problem for them. I mean, they're going to be better defensively.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have size all the time, but size doesn't always win. And that's what I mean. You have to see how it works.
Scott Howard says, media day, I could barely listen to Justin Zanuck. Listen for 30 seconds and turned it off. Yeah, you and everybody else.
Yeah, it's frustrating, dude.
Neville says 35 wins. That'd be a great year.
It's ambitious.
You win 35 games, and Will Hardy is the right guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
year one's a success if you're at 35 wins.
That'd be crazy. Teddy Wayman says, I think we win 18 games. Ooh.
That would be worst case scenario.
More likely 35 wins or 18 wins?
35 wins. These guys will be tuned up. This will be a good team, but I think they like a good team by rookie standards, a good team by young guy standards.
That's interesting. I think you're going to score a lot of points.
Yeah.
Because I think Colin Sexton is a 20-point guy. Yeah, I think you're more likely to win 35 than 18. I think 18 is terrible. I hope you're wrong, Teddy. I think 18 is terrible. Kurt Meyer says, the only time I watch the Jazz is when they play on TNT or ESPN. The TV deal sucks.
Yeah, we all agree, man.
Yeah. Eric and Raleigh says, dead horse beaten. Timberwolves have the easier schedule out east. Well, there you go.
Dead horse beaten.
Dead horse beaten.
Thank you.
Okay. Since the dead horse is beaten,
right?
Can we, in fact, talk about fast food for a minute?
Yeah.
McDonald's is bringing back the jack-o'-lantern bucket for their Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
I mean, I never experienced this one as a kid. Did you experience it as a kid?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So I never got to experience it as a kid, so I don't really have that appreciation, but I thought the story was fascinating because the whole fast food thing, like if you're a parent, I'd love to hear from the parents in the chat. If you have kids that are Happy Meal age, is this like exciting for you? Like, would your kids get hyped about this?
Do you think good thoughts about McDonald's? Because that's the thing that I think is the thing here.
Right.
Okay, so if you're a parent and you're like, well, my kid wants a burger, are you going to McDonald's?
This is a tasty burger.
You're probably not. You're probably going to JCW's. Are you, if you want fast food, are you going to,
okay,
like, if I
McDonald's
said, hey,
or Burger King for your kids?
Jesus.
You know what I mean? That's
it's got to be McDonald's, right?
It has to be McDonald's. You know, quarter pounder, little fry, little drink, like it's fine.
Chicken nuggies,
even though they suck, it's fine.
I think bringing back this jack-o'-lantern bucket is really smart.
Yeah.
I actually think
from
it's
a marketing
one of those
perspective,
things,
it gives you a reason to talk about McDonald's.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where you can put little Jimmy's chicken nuggies.
Chicken nuggies.
Mom, can I get some sweet and sour sauce? By the way, I pooped my diaper.
My favorite food is chicken tendies and fries.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you could get away with that when you have a jack-o'-lantern Happy Meal.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think this is smart by McDonald's, but I'm really curious. What are the comments saying? Like, is this something that people are interested in? Does this excite people with kids? Like, how do we feel about this?
Okay, let's see. This is crazy. Eric and Raleigh says, McDonald's, dead horse for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Ken Williams says, McDonald's, LOL.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Tom Basilius says, as a new EP, we now start at 7 and go till 10.
Sorry, bud.
Can't do it.
Sorry. And by the way, there's no self-electing.
Yeah, you can't name yourself.
You can't
Sorry,
do buddy.
That, man. I don't know that. See, I can't tell that's Kawhi
tough.
laughing.
That's too tough.
Wings of Gumby says, I'd get a Happy Meal just for the bucket. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. Like I would get a Happy Meal, and I would get my kid a Happy Meal just for the bucket. But perception's the problem with MacD's nuts.
Okay, what's the perception?
That it's not good. Like that
But people going to McDonald's don't care about that. They honestly, like, they don't care about that. They just want to get some food for the kids, you know?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, do you have positive vibes about McDonald's?
No, I just think it's McDonald's. I don't think it's like you don't care. Like, if you're willing to feed your kid McDonald's, I don't think you frankly care if it's good or bad.
I would agree with that.
Like,
nailed it. Nailed it. I should get in a little tighter on you.
Wow, you did not
stop
just
it.
say that.
Stop it.
Oh,
Here we go. You know,
Stop
she's
it.
on the show for 10 seconds, and you can't even not make a comment.
Dude, will you grow up? Will you grow up, please?
Anyways,
I'm going to do
Give
that.
you like a laugh.
Wow, was that a Kawhi Was that a Kawhi impersonation?
Hey, Claw.
That just happened.
Wow.
Mrs. Monty just did a Kawhi impersonation on the show.
It was a good one, too.
Okay.
Good point, Jake.
Yeah.
I just want to say good point. Yeah. If you are willing to take your kids to fast food, I don't think you really care if it's McDonald's or Burger King.
You don't?
You're going to take your kids where it's going to make them happy. And if that is a pumpkin bucket,
I totally disagree.
That's where you're taking them.
I think that parents care about what their kids eat. Talking with Raphael podcast.
food.
Well,
dude.
hey,
Like, what?
hold on.
There's a huge difference.
Raphael is a parent now. Would you take your kid to McDonald's?
He says, as a kid, I would ask for McDonald's Happy Meals and we got food at home. Having a kid now, it makes sense now. Yeah. Hey, Raphael, how about we hook you up with that Amazon gift card because diapers are not cheap, bro.
Yeah,
Oh my
bro.
gosh.
Get ready. Those onesies are like $9 and you're going to be like, it's a onesie. What happened to $4?
Yeah.
All of a sudden you shop at Walmart.
What now?
Yeah. Ken Williams says, Mrs. Monty busting balls again. Poor Monty. Exactly right.
Well,
let's see. San Diego State says, bow your head too, Mrs. Monty. You don't bring up Kawhi without bowing your head.
Hey, Claw.
Stop. Crazy. Kurt Meyer says, or McDonald's in AF and Cedar Hills are really bad service.
okay.
Do you
Good to know.
think a McDonald's has good service?
No.
It's just a drive-through,
No,
man. Like,
but it's
not...
just. So here's what happened the last time that I went to McDonald's to get food for the remote.
Yeah.
Great placements of this McDonald's right off of the Bangerter Highway. Awesome placement. But they were like rushing to get people's orders, but then they don't have the food, right? So they're constantly like, oh, go to number 1, go to number 2, go to number 3. Like after you make your order, they're like, we don't have your food ready. Yeah, can you go wait over there? But you're shoving through people. Like, just pace yourself.
But like,
kids.
so would you prefer what Chick-fil-A does? Because you see this all the time when you go to Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A walks workers down the line of cars, takes all the orders, and then just powers them through the window. Like they get way ahead on the orders. You know,
I'd rather wait for a minute
Yeah.
and have you hand me my food. The girl said, go to number 1. Spot number 3 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I drive around to spot number 3. There's already a car in it. Spots 1 and 2 are full. 3 is full. So is like 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
So I parked in a handicap spot, and as soon as someone came out the door and was like trying to auction off food to cars,
I'll drop that money.
you know, like seriously, they walked up to one car, no, not them. Walk up to another car, no, not them. I get out of my car, I'm like, hey. Why are you forcing people through the drive-through so fast to make them sit on the side?
And I feel like that was a pandemic
pause.
thing. That was a pandemic thing.
Yeah, it was a
right?
pandemic
because everyone had to go through the drive-through. There was no lobby, so you would like send people out to park, and then you'd bring them the
if
food.
I order like a special order and all of my, Big Macs don't have pickles, or if I have a special order, put me to the side. I ordered nothing special, but they were slamming people through so fast to get their orders in that they were filling up the parking lot with people waiting.
I don't know. I still maintain that McDonald's is amazing breakfast. Pause, bro. Pause.
Yeah.
Boyd Lake says McDonald's Egg McMuffin, the only good thing at McDonald's.
Facts.
That's right.
Facts, dude.
Truth.
Yeah.
Wings of Gumby says Burger King greater than Mickey D's breakfast, greater than McDonald's burgers.
I don't know, man. Mickey D's breakfast is better than Burger King, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
Lopes fan Gabe says Mrs. Monty low-key nailed the Kawhi laugh impression. I would agree. Eric and Raleigh says Wendy's is the best of low-end fast food options.
Jack in the Box is the best, bro.
I would agree. Brett Burnett says diapers are so filthy expensive. It's a scam. Let's be honest.
Hey, man.
It is.
Diapers and
We all
butthole
make
wipes are a
choices.
scam.
We all make choices. Just saying. Not criticizing.
What
just
do
saying.
you mean? Don't your kids shouldn't wear diapers?
No, maybe you don't have a kid, pushing the budget
Yeah,
around.
protect
you know
your
what I mean?
seed.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Scott Howard says Burger King. Josh Blaylock says Mac Jizzy.
Mac Jizzy.
Okay. Neville93 says I don't like serving my kids McDonald's. That I like to go to Wendy's. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, what is it about Wendy's?
Oh my gosh, and Neville 93's kids are so cute.
Yep. Kurt Meyer says Mrs. Monty stole the show. She did.
Basically.
Ken says McDonald's low cost horrible food. I like mom and pop places. Yeah, I see. Like I'd
I'm
rather
about that.
See, but is Crown Burger mom and pop food?
Hires Big H.
Well,
Oh.
I mean, yeah, but that's
Yeah, maybe I need that this weekend. A garden burger patty melt.
Lopes fan Gabe says, I've wondered what happened if you straight up say, nah, I'm not going to pull ahead to spot 3. I'll wait right here.
Maybe I should try that next time.
Wow.
Because I get sick of it. Like, no, I'll wait. I should just say, no, I'll wait. It's fine.
Yeah.
And see
Alex,
what they say. They probably wouldn't know what to do.
Alex Chacon says, man, y'all ever seen how absolutely bonkers the Sugar House Chick-fil-A is every single day? Yes.
I'm sure it's just ridiculous.
Blocking traffic.
Dude.
But this is the thing, though. I don't understand why people love Chick-fil-A.
Well, the egg and cheese biscuit at Chick-fil-A is amazing.
Right, but on the whole, their food is just so average.
It is.
It's not great.
And once you've been to like Super Chicks, or once you've been to like
But
one
again,
of the places
it's a
that gives you
different
good
league,
chicken,
dude. It's a different league. That's not fast food.
No, that's true. I mean, like Dirty Bird isn't fast food either. I don't
like
disagree
Slim
with
Chickens
that.
is fast food. You want to compare it to Slim Chickens? You could do that.
Slim Chickens is way better than
It
Chick-fil-A.
is. It is
Way better.
Yeah.
Way better.
And they're not, at least not that we know of. We're not funding their hate campaign. So
Okay, here we go. Ken says sausage and egg Oh, the McGriddle is so good.
So good, dude.
Sex, dude. Wings of Gumby says whack Arnold's versus McDonald's. Exactly. Good old Dave Chappelle. Alex Chacon says Burger Bar is worth the trip up to Roy. It is. I was forced to eat there once by a friend. Well, not a friend, a psychopath who. Well, it's anyway. I've been there. Apollo. Ken says Apollo Burger.
Yeah.
Josh Blaylock Dixon says, "Did you see NASA hit the asteroid?" Yes.
Yes, dude.
yeah.
I actually broke that news in Casa de Monte yesterday. I was excited.
Very cool.
I was excited.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Boyd Lake says, "Did you ever check out Lil Eggcorn and Spanish Fork?" We have not. We have not.
Nah, we checked out Little Pine Cone instead.
We have not. Let's see. Alex Chacon says, "Get it, pine cone."
See,
acorn.
pine.
We
Come
do
on.
need to
Come
probably
on.
check out the little
Come on,
acorn, 'cause
guy.
We've heard good things.
Alex Chacon says, "Pretty Bird sandwiches are elite. They are good." I agree with that. Pretty Bird's underrated. You guys have to try it. Neville 93 says, "I just bought a box of diapers for my daughter yesterday. I paid almost $70."
Oh my God! Something your kid to shit in.
Oh.
Yeah,
Man, that sucks.
Honestly, I'm telling you now, weddings and babies are scams.
Oh, totally.
When you
They're both
say
incredibly expensive, bro. I'm telling you.
And it's actually a huge issue for our younger generations who are like, nah, I'm fine.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Like, it's super. There's no incentive. We
Nope.
don't have national health care, so there's no incentive. We don't have child care.
Nope.
We don't have like the supplements they give are so tiny and worthless. Like, you can't afford to keep a job and raise a baby because you can't. The money you would make for child care takes all the money you would make out of your paycheck. Like, it's ridiculous.
But
There's no incentive.
This is also gas. You know, like the thing I don't understand is why gas is so expensive. And Uncle Joe, crazy Joe Biden said this yesterday. Like, hey, if you own a gas station and you're a gas company, you need to lower the price. There's no reason for gas to be over $4 a gallon here.
Oh,
None.
well, it is.
It's
It's
greed.
price gouging.
Yeah.
That's all. And on diapers, on formula, on like baby formula prices will never come back down, even now that there's not a shortage anymore. It will never come back down.
It's really despicable.
Did you see that there was an article about there's only like 3 baby formula makers.
Uh-huh.
And they struggle so much because babies aren't profitable.
No, they're not.
And so no one wants to get into the baby formula business because it's not profitable.
It's ridiculous.
So rather than doing the right thing, we subsidize gross cheese in this country. How about we subsidize baby formula so we can actually have babies that are healthy?
It's crazy, dude. It is absolutely crazy.
Making me mad.
Brent Burnett says tax gouging on gas. Neville 93 says, "Thank you, Mrs. Monty. My kids like you." Wings of Gumby says Mrs. Monty is today's MVP. Wow.
Thanks.
NY Jazz fan says, my wife told me on one of her friends uses diapers she washes, like cloth or something.
Yeah.
I would never do that. Just take the L and buy the disposable. But
How about that?
I think there are homes. I know there's a lot of homes here, and it's a burgeoning business. Not burgeoning. It's an established business. There are diaper delivery services that will pick up your kids' poopy diapers and bring you fresh ones.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It just is.
Yeah.
It's rough, man.
I don't know. Can NASA hit an asteroid in the clutch?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's
They
a great
showed it.
question.
I think they
showed
can. Yeah. Absolutely.
Why are you guys so confident?
Because now you've done it.
Yeah.
Like
You've done right, but you did it when like there wasn't going to be like the world wasn't ending.
Right, because they needed to test it first.
that type of thing to me
I don't
is
know,
just
man.
science and trajectory. Like it's not.
Oh, you know, just science and trajectory.
That's what it is. How do you hit an asteroid? You do some math. That's what it is, man.
Fuck, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do it. I'm not good at math.
Yeah,
I think it's a little more difficult than playing a video game. A lot of people yesterday were like, "Oh, it's just like playing a video game."
I don't
no,
think it's like
not.
playing a video game, but they're simply doing trajectory math. That's what, like, hey, the asteroid's moving in a certain pace. We're moving in a certain pace. Where's the connection point?
Now, I will say, like, having worked with Honeywell and been to their facility that makes like the satellites and batteries for satellites and propulsion systems for satellites and other types of space machinery, it is pretty difficult. You get it; it's a one shot. You are sending something up in the air that costs, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. And that's it. You can't pull it back to fix it if it misfires or if it dies. So it is a one-shot thing, and you better get it right.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Hey, the Monty Show presented by the Advocates, UtahAdvocates.com. Make sure you get to UtahAdvocates.com. If you've been in an accident, check them out. I'm telling you, those are the best in the business. You didn't deserve to be in an accident, but you do deserve an advocate at UtahAdvocates.com. Thank you so much to everybody commenting on the show today. If you're here right now, all 120 people, please give us a thumbs up and a like. We appreciate you guys so much. It really helps the channel grow. Congratulations, Mrs. Monty, for winning the MVP. So why don't you say goodbye, Mrs. Monty?
Bye, Mrs. Monty.